Hello, everybody, and welcome along once again to Football Commentary Live, the home of alternative commentary, where we bring you the second part of the Super Saturday that we have got for you. The first part saw Manchester City beat Leicester by 2-0 to go 17 points clear at the top of the Premier League summit. Goals from Benjamin Mendy and Gabriel Jesus saw Pep Guardiola's side triumph at the King Power Stadium early on this evening. And our second helping is Arsenal against Liverpool. It's a classic Premier League fixture. It's even been a fixture that's been made into a movie, and it's even remembered some memorable quotes back in 1989 from a certain great commentator in Brian Moore. It's up for grabs now. It's not quite the same as fighting for the league championship on the final day of the season this time round, but what they're both fighting for is European football. Liverpool are fighting for the Champions League. Their defence of their Premier League crown has been somewhat unconvincing and disappointing, and the next best thing they can hope for is a place in the top four, which they're in danger of not being in for the first time under Jurgen Klopp's leadership as a manager in any of his 4 full seasons. With Chelsea losing today, the door has well and truly opened for a top 4 place. Arsenal, who go into the game on a good run of form and ahead of a busy week in both Europe and domestic, will be hoping that they can potentially get into the top 4 for the first time since 2016 come the end of May. And they'll be hoping that they can close down the gap between them and Chelsea, who currently lie in 4th place. But before I go across over to our 2 commentators, Russ Vernon and Mike Harniman, it's been a busy day of Premier League action. West Bromwich Albion caused a huge shock at Stamford Bridge. They thrashed Chelsea 5-2. Yes, that is West Brom 5, Chelsea 2. Chelsea, of course, went in front through Christian Pulisic. They had a man sent off in Thiago Silva. Mateus Pereira got 2. Callum Robinson and Bay Diagne scored before Mason Mount, of course, put in the back of the net for Chelsea, suffered their first defeat in all competitions under Thomas Tuchel. Leeds beat Sheffield United in the Yorkshire Derby as Paul Heckingbottom had an unhappy return to Ellen Road. Goals from Jack Harrison and a Jagielka own goal was sandwiched in between by Ben Osborne's equaliser that has pretty much put pay to Sheffield United's hopes of staying in the Premier League. The Championship saw Huddersfield and Brentford share the points in a 1-1 draw. Lewis O'Brien and Mads Beck Sorensen were on the score sheet for their respective sides, as Brentford's promotion push has taken a bit of a snag. And in League 2, Southend were beaten 2-0 by Carlisle off Rande Zanzala, and Jime Toure were on the score sheet for the Cumbrians down on the south coast. And of course, the game we covered early on finished Leicester 0, Manchester City 2. Before I do go and cross to Mike and Russ, of course, we heard the sad news this week that Yeovil Town captain Lee Collins died suddenly at the age of 32. Our condolences go to his family and his friends in what is, of course, a real upsetting time for them. And, of course, we wish and respect their privacy in this current time. And, of course, as well, it was a anniversary week for Arsenal. Of course, it's 20 years since David Rocastle died. He was an Arsenal player that dazzled quite a few. And of course, in the Highbury days, of course, his career saw him play at the likes of Leeds and is well revered around at Arsenal. And it's a good time to bring in our main commentator for tonight's game, Mike Harniman. Mike, first of all, happy Easter and good evening to you.
Evening, Matt. Happy Easter. And of course, while we're on the subject of Arsenal, we mentioned Rocky Rocastle, but we've also got to send our condolences out to Claude's family as well. Of course, yeah. Claude from AFTV, who sadly passed away on Tuesday. So, big condolences to all of his family and friends also. And it's been a very, what's the word that I'm looking for? A difficult week, I suppose, for Arsenal fans, obviously with Rocky Rocastle, David Rocastle on Wednesday, the anniversary, and then Claude passing away just the day before as well.
Yes, absolutely. Of course, I did forget about Claude Caligari. Of course, he was a well-known figure on Arsenal Fan TV. If you're very well known to that sort of scene on YouTube and various social media outlets, of course, we do, of course, send our condolences to his friends and family. Just on the subject of David Rocastle, does he spring to mind, Mike? Were you sort of quite well fond of David Rocastle sort of when he was playing at Arsenal, especially in the early 90s? Is he a player that sticks out on your mind?
So basically, I didn't really know much about him. I saw a few games here and there with Rocky Rocastle, and I always thought that he was very talented. And of course, he had the nasty injury as well, didn't he? And I think that if he didn't have that injury, he'd have gone on and been some player. But yeah, a majority of his time was actually a little bit before me, to be honest with you.
That's fair enough. I like your honesty. Let's just bring in Russ Vernon. Good evening to you, Russ, and also happy Easter, like I said to Mike.
Good evening, Mike. Happy Easter all. Happy Easter, Mike. And good evening to you as well, mate.
Yeah, thank you very much. Of course, yeah, happy Easter to all our listeners. Russ, big game tonight, Arsenal versus Liverpool, under the lights in North London. How do you see the game going? Is this a game that matters just for one side more than the other, or does it matter for both?
I think it matters for both, really. Arsenal want to finish as high as possible, try and keep the way up the table, finish in the top half of the table and even top 10, which they currently are in at the moment. Liverpool want to try and creep back up the table after a poor slump, especially at Anfield in recent weeks. But I think it's going to be an open game. I think both teams all won the points for separate reasons, as I've mentioned. But Liverpool probably need them more so than Arsenal, in my opinion, for the recent form at Anfield. And I know they're not playing at Anfield tonight, but they want to get back on the winning track as quickly as possible in the Premier League to try and get the points back and try and keep up the table and close the gap on their major side rivals.
Absolutely. Well, away from home, Liverpool have enjoyed playing than at Anfield. Of course, their last, Premier League game, they saw them triumph 1-0 at Wolves, a tough place to go, but it's a ground that Liverpool do like visiting. Of course, in the 3 previous meetings, they have won every single time since Wolves came back to the Premier League. Mike, from the Arsenal perspective, obviously it's a big week ahead. Slavia Prague to come in the Europa League on Thursday. It feels like, when you listen to Mikel Arteta, he wants to win the Europa League for the fact that it does get you into the Champions League. Now, if Arsenal do win tonight, they are, would you have to say, well and truly in the race for the top 4?
Yeah, you have to look at Arsenal and say, yeah, we've got a shout. Of course, with the Chelsea result earlier as well, but never put your money on Arsenal, where especially against Liverpool. Just looking earlier, I'm just going to look over it again now. There was actually 232 games in all competitions where the sides have met, and Liverpool were the form side as well. They've won 90 times in that 232. Arsenal have only won 81, and there's been 61 draws. So, as much as Arsenal won the Community Shield against Liverpool, and they also won the reverse fixture last season, just go back to this season where Liverpool were 3-1 winners, weren't they, as well at Anfield? So it's certainly all to play for. And I kind of disagree with Russ. I think it's more important for Arsenal to win than Liverpool. I think Arsenal, have to focus on this. Yes, the Europa League is a way into it, but there's still plenty of other good sides in there, and even Slavia Prague. Everyone saw what happened with them when they knocked out Leicester City as well. And Leicester, you just covered them yourself a moment ago. They're a side that are doing very well this season, and certainly in the Premier League have had a much better season than Arsenal have.
Yes, absolutely. Well, of course, if you remember, cast your mind back to sort of the first 2-3 months of the season, Arsenal were in total disarray. It was looking increasingly like they were going to be involved in a relegation battle, and there was a lot of pressure on Mikel Arteta, but he has turned it around to an extent, of course. He's changed the team around, changed the tactics, and it has yielded more good than bad as we edge closer to kickoff with around about sort of 6 minutes time until we do kick off, and what is already a classic Premier League fixture. Russ, do you see Liverpool not being in the top 4 this season, or do you actually do believe that they will turn it around both home and away and get in there and be what it looks like alongside Man City, Leicester and Man United?
I guess they could turn it around depending if the players come into form and Salah starts finding his goal scoring record run at goal scoring boots again, and same with same with Mane as well in there, and Jota finding his goal scoring form again, and Firmino. But it'd be interesting if they do miss out whether Liverpool fans turn on Jurgen Klopp, because I know some fans they like to turn on Jurgen Klopp, think he's not doing as well as he can do in recent weeks. So it'd be interesting if that was the case, if Liverpool fans turn on him and want him out. Because at the moment, I think some of the fans do still want him in. Some of the fans don't. I think they've got a mixed split fan base at the moment inside Liverpool fans.
While the Emirates pitch is, as ever, looking like a carpet as Liverpool come out onto the field of play, as do Arsenal, speaking of Devils. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at Commentary Live 1, capital C, capital L either side of that, or you can find us on Facebook. Simply go to facebook.com/FootComLive. Massive game in the Premier League. European football is what both these sides are playing for. It's Arsenal against Liverpool, a true classic of the Premier League. We hope at home you are ready and feeling fresh for it. It's now time to head over to our two commentators. First of all, Russ Vernon and Mike Harniman.
So, thank you very much. Of course, it's Mike Harniman here. Right, I'll bring Russ in a moment. We've got the two lineups for you in front of me. So, we'll start off with the visitors. Liverpool, they've got Alisson in goal, then a back four of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Phillips and Kabak in the centre-back, and then Robertson, the Scotsman, at the left-back. Midfield three of Thiago, Fabinho and James Milner. And then the front three, that lethal front three of Salah, Firmino and Mane, who on the day are one of the best in the world. And then Wijnaldum, Keita, Adrian, Oxlade-Chamberlain, the former Arsenal man, is on the bench. Also Curtis Jones, Jota, Tsimikas, Shaqiri and Reece Williams. And then the Arsenal side, there's a couple of changes for Arsenal. Granit Xhaka's out ill, and there's still no room in there for Bukayo Saka or Emile Smith-Rowe, who are both injured. So the lineup is Leno in goal. Callum Chambers keeps his place at right back after that fantastic performance he put in against West Ham. Rob Holding comes in to partner Gabriel. Of course, David Luiz is out with an injury as well. And then the other Scotsman, Kieran Tierney, is the Arsenal left back. Midfield two for Arsenal, Thomas Partey and Dani Ceballos, the on-loan Real Madrid man. And then the front three is Pepe. So the three behind the front man, is Pepe, Odegaard and Aubameyang. Lacazette leading the line. And then the bench is Bellerin, Willian, Cedric, Pablo Mari, Nelson, El Neni, Eddie Nketiah, who, of course, Russ knows a little bit about from his loan at Leeds. Matt Ryan on loan from Brighton and Gabriel Martinelli as well. So I'm going to bring Russ in now. So good evening, Russ. And what do you make to those two lineups that both sides have gone with tonight?
Yeah, good evening, Mike. Good evening, everyone. I think both teams have gone fairly strong. Kabak's in there for Liverpool and Nat Phillips, who in recent weeks have seemed to perform a good partnership at centre-back. Arsenal, I've been looking, they've got a right footer and a left footer at centre-back, which is what you like to see in the team. You like to see a right footer centre back, left footer centre back. Because if there's two same foot, they like to go in the same way. Whereas if you've got one of each foot, one can play out to the right, one can play out to the left, or even switch it across. Then switch to cross to the right and to the left. If they're both left footed, they always look to go the same way. So I think that could work for Arsenal. Now Phillips is going back to Liverpool. Now Phillips has done well. I think the key for Arsenal today, Mike, and for everyone else listening, need to keep the likes of Firmino, Mane, Salah quiet, Jota if he comes on as well later on. And a lot of Arsenal fans will know about Oxlade-Chamberlain. He's bound to, if he gets on today, bound to want to score against his former club.
Yeah, 100%. I think Oxlade-Chamberlain was with Arsenal for about 6 or 7 years in total. I can't remember what it was precisely, but it looks like the officials are just getting into place now. And I'll run you through the officials as well, if you give me a second to go through those notes. But looks like Liverpool are the side that are going to be getting us underway. I will run you through the officials in a second because I think the game's just about to get underway now, in fact. Once they've actually, let me just see what is happening there. I think they're just about to get underway. Referee seems to be just waiting for them to take the knee, first of all, which they're doing at the moment. So the officials are, let me see, the official is Martin Atkinson, the referee. The assistants are Konstantin Hatzitikas and Sean Massey Ellis. And then the fourth official, Andre Mariner, VAR, Jonathan Moss, and his assistant is Andy Halliday, as the game is now underway. And the ball is currently with the Arsenal Brazilian Gabriel, the number 6, who knocks it into midfield. And Danny Ceballos, I think that was, he knocks it on to Kieran Tierney. In fact, it was Aubameyang first of all, but Aubameyang has got it now for Arsenal, giving the ball to Lacazette here. And was Lacazette fouled there? Looks like he was. And it's an early Arsenal free kick. So just going to see what's going to happen. It was a bit of a poor free kick in the end, and well tidied up by Alexander-Arnold. And Liverpool just conceded a throw-in. Form guide, Liverpool's last 8 games, they've only picked up 6 points in their last 8 games in all of their Premier League matches. Is that a bit of a surprise for you, Russ?
It is a bit of a surprise with the calibre of players Liverpool have got in there, Mike, with like Salah, Mane, Firmino, which I'm singled out earlier, Thiago in there, Fabinho as well in the midfield, along with James Milner today, and Wijnaldum on the bench, Jota on the bench as well. So it is a bit surprised with how many points they've picked up. And just to point out, Mike, as you mentioned the ref. It is struck how well the referee today, Mike. No Martin Atkinson, as you mentioned.
Oh, has it been changed last minute, was it?
I think.
Oh, I think I've lost you, Russ. I think it's the
last second change, Mike. Yes.
So it was changed. So I will have to change that on my end. So thank you. And it's currently Liverpool 0, Arsenal 0, or Arsenal 0, Liverpool 0, I should say, at the Emirates. And it is Trent Alexander-Arnold in possession at the moment. So just hang with me whilst I make a note of that. So it was Stuart Atwell who's in charge and officiating. So let me just, I don't know why that's... And I literally looked at it last night. So it very much was a last-minute change then. Stuart Atwell is officiating. Apologies about this, everyone. It literally came to me just then. So, it's currently 0-0. Here's Martin Odegaard now. Giving it to Nicola Pepe, trying to take it on past Andy Robertson. And you touched on the Liverpool front three. What do you make of, front 3 or 4? What do you make of the Arsenal front 4 as well, with Pepe and then Aubameyang and then Odegaard playing just behind Lacazette? What do you make of that 4?
Yeah, they seem to do well for Arsenal, and I think if Arsenal could get them into the game more often, it could cause problems.
Sorry, Russ. Here's Pepe now giving it to Odegaard, and he's giving it to Thomas Partey now. He's going to give it to Odegaard now. Going to try and switch the play here to Kieran Tierney. Takes that down on his knee and then plays it into the middle of the park to Danny Ceballos. And how big a part is it for Danny Ceballos today? Of course, Arsenal fans remember, what he did against Benfica, where he almost single-handedly cost the team, and Kieran Tierney and Aubameyang got Arsenal out of jail that day with those 2 mistakes. And how big a game is this for him now when the back of Granit Xhaka being out with an illness?
It's a big game for him, Mike, as you say, with Xhaka out with illness. He could have put El Nani in there, who's done well for Arsenal in the past in that sort of position. But he's gone with Ceballos, who's on loan. And I think if you look at him, he's played well this season when he's in games. I think he'll have put that to the back of his mind now, Mike, and be looking forward to the remainder of the season. And I think the players will probably put it to the mind.
It's Liverpool. Sadio Mane is here. He's going to give the ball to Firmino, and it's well defended by Gabriel. Apologies about that, Russ. And
knows, Mike.
It's just currently a throw-in for Liverpool here. Just stay with me a moment. That was a good bit of play there from Firmino and Sadio Mane. And Mane, of course, was heavily involved in the reverse fixture as well. Potentially could have been sent off for an elbow or a hand on Rob Holding. And he went on and he scored in that game, didn't he, as well as Diego Jota. And I think Alex Lacazette got Arsenal's goal. And I'm trying to remember who got Liverpool's third off the top of my head. But I know Mane was certainly involved in a few controversial moments in that game. So it's currently Gabriel now for Arsenal, and it's Rob Holding. Just plays it down the line here to Pepe. Was he fouled there? Referee says no, he wasn't. So Liverpool have possession here in midfield with Thiago. Now it's Fabinho. Knocks it back to Kabak there. And Phillips is playing a 1-2 between the two of them. And it's gone out to Robertson, who's just couldn't do anything with it. The ball's gone out of play. So it's currently Arsenal 0, Liverpool 0. We've had 5 minutes on the clock, and it's Callum Chambers, the man playing right back, and just throwing that one into Gabriel. And how good do you think Callum Chambers was, Russ, in that game against West Ham? He really, was bombing down that right side and got himself involved with a couple of the goals, didn't he?
Jay's been. When I've seen him play this season, Mike, I've been watching majority of the Premier League games, as everybody else has. We've been all on TV this season due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, which has not allowed fans in the grounds. And Chambers, when he's played this season, in my opinion, is putting some good performances. A right back and a centre back as well. And I think he could do a job in central defensive midfield as well.
Yeah, well, when he was at Fulham, he played defensive mid, didn't he? He did a good job for them in the Fulham side. That I think they went and got relegated in the end, but he was certainly one of their bright sparks in that season. As Liverpool have possession here, Mo Salah into Firmino, and is currently just into Mane there now. They've been switched from the right back position over to him. Can have a run here, trying to find Robertson, and it's a good tackle there from Callum Chambers. Remember, we were just talking about, had to get that one right as well. And he got it spot on and was able to hook it behind for a throw-in. So that was good play from Callum Chambers. And what do you make of Callum Chambers overall, Russ? And, of course, we said he's very versatile in the way that he plays, but any chance that he might be able to make a late run-up to, potential Euros for England? Or do you think it's a bit late for him?
I think it's a bit too late now, Mike, because I think if you look at if you were to have a chance to get back into England, he probably would have got in this last international break. He wasn't involved. He may be involved like on the short list in case anyone pulls out, but I don't think he'll actually be in the main squad for England when the Euros comes around.
And I think that's because he's missed the majority of the season as well. He's only played a couple of games. That was a bit of a sloppy there from Rob Holding, and it was just tidied up by Gabriel in the end, who beat Mo Salah to the ball when Kabak just knocks it onto Alisson now, and Alisson just about reaches his centre-back there with the ball. And, of course, Arsenal have possession here, but it's given all the way back to Alisson now. Of course, in the reverse fixture last season, Arsenal won 2-1. With Mane scoring for Liverpool and Lacazette and Reece Nelson scoring for Arsenal that day. And Virgil van Dijk and Alisson, two players that you don't expect to be making the sort of mistakes that they did, made some very uncharacteristic mistakes in that game, didn't they?
They did, yes, they did. But I think if Van Dijk's not involved today, Alisson, if he makes another mistake, could end up being punished like he has done in some of the matches this season.
Yeah, 100%. And that was a good ball out there to Andy Robertson, who couldn't quite keep it in. But I think Alisson, still a fantastic goalkeeper, don't get me wrong. But, he's certainly been showing this season on the back end of last season as well that he has got a few more mistakes in him than what people expected or what people might have thought. And, he can be got at, let's just say. So currently, Arsenal 0, Liverpool 0 is the scoreline. Of course, you're listening to Football Commentary Live. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter at Commentary Live 1. That's capital C, capital L. And we're also on Facebook as well. And you can give us a like on the Facebook channel, which is at FootCommon Live. I believe. Is that right, Russ?
It is, yes. Go to facebook.com/FootCom Live to follow us on Facebook, and also our Twitter handle is going across the bottom of the screen, but it's at Commentary Live 1 to get in touch with us there. And we're now over on Twitch as well. Just search for Football Commentary Live on Twitch to get involved with the conversation over there as well when we're live. Put in your comments and we'll read them out on air when we can.
That's right, and we're streaming across there now as well. This is the second game that we brought across the Twitch platform. The Leicester and Man City game went out there as well. In fact, actually, it's the third game because the game I covered midweek from League One was on there, in fact, as well, between Wigan and Gillingham. That was on there as well. So this is actually the third game on the Twitch channel. Here's Callum Chambers now with his Arsenal throw-in, and he's going to throw it down the line looking for Alex Lacazette. And looked like the Arsenal man got caught there, and the referee, Stuart Atwell, agrees. And has given a free kick, and Alex Lacazette's holding his head there. He's got quite a good record, actually, against Liverpool, as Alex Lacazette. And You wouldn't bet against him scoring today, would you, Russ?
He likes to score against Liverpool, but if Liverpool defence are on top, I don't think he's seen very many chances. But Liverpool also need to carve out some chances today, and so far in the opening 10 minutes, neither side has been able to carve out any chances for their trio up top or their strike force today.
It's a very cagey start to the game, isn't it, in the opening 10.5 minutes there? And it's not an awful lot to talk about. As Liverpool have a chance here, though, with Firmino, he's going to try and take it round Ceballos. He's still got the ball, he whips it in. It's a good head up by Rob Holding, and it's shot here, and that was fired wide by James Milner in the end. And James Milner starts today. If he was a substitute and come off the bench, that would have been a new record as well. So maybe Jurgen Klopp actually secretly knew that and put him in from the start, because currently he's on level with Peter Crouch on the amount of sub appearances that have been made in the Premier League history. So it's currently Arsenal 0, Liverpool 0. We've had just over 11 minutes on the clock, and Bernd Leno is over this goal kick now. Plays it to Lacazette, and it's good header there by Kabak, but it's Callum Chambers, Martin Odegaard, and Thomas Partey now. Tries to feed the ball through to Aubameyang, but that was great defending from the Liverpool man, Phillips, I think that was, but only as far as Tierney. And yet again, the Liverpool man is able to get there and defend. I think that was actually Fabinho that time, I should say. Here's Salah now and battling with Thomas Partey, and the Arsenal man gets the better of it. He plays it out to Aubameyang on this left touchline and into Dani Ceballos now. Thomas Partey again. Martin Odegaard, the Norwegian now, the man on loan from Real Madrid, and Arsenal just kind of getting a bit of a feel for possession. Here's Gabriel into Lacazette, trying to touch it onto Aubameyang. It was well defended, and Liverpool just hooks it clear in the end. There might be a bit of a run on here for Mo Salah against Gabriel as well. The Egyptian has done very well there and played it into midfield to Thiago, who knocks it onto Mane. And the referee says play advantage there, although I think Callum Chambers did catch him, and then Robertson tries to whip that one in, and the cross comes to nothing. So, yeah, cagey start, Russ. It's we haven't had any chances really in the opening, almost 13 minutes, have we? It's been one of those games that both sides really just don't want to lose.
Yeah, no sides want to lose this, Mike, as you're saying. And that cross there from Robertson, I think he sliced it in the end more than a normal, natural cross, and that's why he went behind. I think if he'd have put it in like he normally does, I think it would have probably caused Arsenal a few problems inside the penalty area.
Absolutely, and that was, I think, possibly a bit lucky from Callum Chambers as well. He did dive in a bit, and the advantage would play, but the referee said, let's get on with it. So here's Mane and then Milner, and that was an opportunity. Here's, who was that? They're just trying to whip that one in there. But it's an opportunity here for Liverpool to have a shot, and it's fired wide there by, I think that's Fabinho, was it, who had that effort there. And yeah, that's probably the first shot really of the game, and still not testing Bernd Leno in the Arsenal goal, but it's a bit of decent play there. It was actually, who was that hooked it in? Was it Roberto Firmino originally? And then, yeah.
Yeah, a good bit of play down this left-hand side.
Involved as well, yeah.
A good bit of play down the left-hand side. Come to Firmino, put the ball in, like you said, Mike. Alexander-Arnold kept the ball alive for Liverpool. Set up Fabinho, but his strike didn't really trouble Leno and was never going to trouble him in all fairness, and went well wide in the end of the post.
That's right, and then the German had nothing to worry about with that one. Here's Martin Odegaard. I was giving the ball away to Milner. Here's Firmino. Back then against Dani Ceballos, and Ceballos has thought he'd done well there, but the referee has given a free kick to Liverpool. It's a bit of a soft free kick, actually. What did you make of that, Russ? I thought that was a soft decision to give that.
Yeah, I can see why the referee's giving him Mike holding on as he tried to get away from him, but it was, like I say, it was a soft one to give away from Odegaard's perspective. He wasn't really going anywhere. Partey were closing in behind him as well, Mike, so he could have let him go through, because Partey would have probably stopped him from getting any further.
Arsenal on the break here now with Nicola Pepe giving it to Martin Odegaard, trying to give Pepe the ball back. He's got it back here now. Thomas Partey as well. Referee's playing advantage to Aubameyang. He's going to try and cut him from this left side. and tries to feed Lacazette there. Pepe couldn't quite get to the ball, and Lacazette couldn't get in near it either. And Liverpool have got it clear with Firmino. It's just giving it to Gabriel, though, onto Aubameyang. Was that Aubameyang? I can't even think it was. Couldn't see who it was. But now it's with Tierney. It's hard to pick out Aubameyang sometimes with his new haircut. I don't know what you make of that, Russ. I'm not a big fan myself.
Yeah, I keep wondering when he pops up with the ball. I'm thinking, who's this who's got the ball for Arsenal? Who's this now? And have they made a sub already? Because I'm not a fan of his myself, like you said, Mike.
Yeah,
he's probably got his wife to cut here for him since we're not down.
I think so. But it's currently with Arsenal just knocking the ball around. And actually, as I say that, they give the ball away. And it's gone behind for a throw-in. James Milner just sees that one out and then throws it on to Kabak. And he gives it to Andy Robertson, who knocks it back to Kabak, who goes across to his centre-back partner and then takes a touch and gives it to Alexander-Arnold. Surprising, wasn't it, that Alexander-Arnold was omitted from the England squad? I thought he very much would have had a shout.
Yes, I thought he'd probably been in, but then if you look at it as well, Mike, you look at it there as well. He came out and said, did Gareth Southgate, he was left out due to the form that he was been in really good form for Liverpool in recent weeks, and that's one of the reasons why he left him out. But then if you look at it from the other hand, Eric Dyer's not been in particularly good form for Tottenham, and
He still gets in. Yeah,
still gets in.
Not very consistent, really, is it? But anyway, it's with Robertson now. Here's Milner. Back to Andy Robertson again. And Milner on to Fabinho and on to Thiago as well. Gives it to Firmino. He has to drop back a little bit and then gives it back to Thiago again. He just switches it out to this left side where James Milner is at the moment, and then on to Robertson. And back into James Milner again. Just knocks the ball back to Phillips and then on to Thiago there and Mo Salah as well. But it's good play there by Thomas Partey and Lacazette. And here's Danny Ceballos now for Arsenal. And there's Kieran Tierney. Ceballos. Gabriel just takes a touch and smashes it forward. And Lacazette loses out on the header. And it's now Kieran Tierney just had to knock that one back to Bernd Leno. And we're getting a little bit of a frantic moment in the game there. And Arsenal were starting to panic a little bit. Anytime that Liverpool have the ball, Arsenal kind of can't seem to string two passes together, can they, Russ, at the moment?
No, they can't seem to find the own players at the moment, seem to give it away. Whereas if you look here with Liverpool, they're playing simple passes. Arsenal are trying to force the passes, where if you watch Liverpool play, Mike, they're playing simple passes, trying to work an opening, whereas Arsenal, they're trying to force an opening. Liverpool are just working for the opening.
That's right, and that was good play there from Gabriel. We just cleared that one, and Phillips on to Thiago, and then into Fabinho as well. But back with Thiago now. There's Firmino onto Salah, trying to find Mane, and then Callum Chambers just gets that one behind for a throw-in, and Callum Chambers was feeling at centre-back there for a moment. When I think one of the other Arsenal players, I'm not too sure who it was Gabriel, was caught further up a little bit too far forward, I think.
Yeah, I think Gabriel had pushed out to try, because I think he's meant to be marking Firmino. Firmino dragged him out of position, so he had to move across, which meant Chambers had to move across. And he's good covering that from Callum Chambers. Seeing that Odin had moved across, and there was a gap in there, and so there's no one on the outside, so had to move in there.
That's Phillips now on to Firmino into Salah. And here's an opportunity for Liverpool, and it's just gone behind for a corner ball off of Gabriel there. It was, who was that tried to whip it in originally? Was it Alexander-Arnold, I believe? He's going to take this quick corner as well to Mane now, and Mane puts it into the box towards Firmino, and it's Rob Holding who gets up and heads it behind for another Liverpool corner, and they're really starting to put a little bit of pressure on the home side now, and they might be smelling blood a little bit.
Yes, you can see Arsenal defensively when Liverpool coming forward, Mike, a little bit shaky at times, not really defending in numbers. Whereas if you look at Liverpool, when Arsenal get forward, they always have men back to mark the numbers.
And that was a good play there from Lacazette, winning his header at the near post. It's now Milner out to Alexander-Arnold, and well played there by Thomas Partey from Arsenal's perspective, just to hook it out for a throw-in. And of course, Thomas Partey, another player that we thought we might have seen more of from an Arsenal perspective. Of course, he's had quite a few injury issues to deal with rushed back against Tottenham, and then got a few setbacks there, didn't he? And he's just kind of getting a little bit of a settled run in the side now. He's had 4 or 5 games in a solid, quick space of time now. Here's Sadio Mane. On to Robertson, back to Mane again. The Senegalese man. Tries to take it round Nicola Pepe, and he's going to get an opportunity to whip it in as well, and Gabriel hooks it clear. There's Lacazette now for Arsenal. Thomas Partey onto Martin Odegaard. Here's Dani Ceballos now. Giving it to Martin Odegaard. Just makes it there just in time. Just giving to Fabinho, though. He wins the tackle. Gives it to Phillips. There's Kabak now. Then into Thiago. Liverpool just passing it around in little triangles at the moment. It's now with James Milner. Robertson back to Milner again. Plenty of space for Liverpool to move into if they want to. Then to go back to Phillips, though. And of course, this game is the second game that we've covered today. We covered a game earlier between Leicester and Manchester City as well, with Manchester City winning by 2-0. Liverpool have possession here in this one now. It's with Alexander-Arnold from a good ball from Milner into Mo Salah. And Kieran Tierney just hooks it clear. And Lacazette's gone down holding his face there. Is that Phillips? Let's have a look here. What did you make of that, Russ? It was Phillips and Lacazette there. A little coming together, but I don't think there was that much in it, really, personally. But Lacazette's gone down very theatrically, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's just I'm just watching it again here, Mike. There's nothing in that really. He's gone down on his face, and you can see there's no contact on Lacazette's face. Yeah, there may be just a little brush there, but nothing to go down holding his face and trying to get a red card from. He's a bit stupid there from the Arsenal striker, and I'd be surprised if he's not booked. Yeah, but he's got some blood coming from his face. He's got a cut on his eye.
Yeah, he's got a cut on his eye there. So I think it was more from that collision there, where he kind of just got it's a bit of a hand to the face, but it was an accidental hand rather than anything malicious and deliberate. So as much as Lacazette was complaining, it's certainly not a red card or anything like that. But it does look a bit of a nasty injury to his eye, and he's got to go off because he's got blood as well. So Arsenal are going to be down to 10 men just for a moment whilst that gets dealt with. Of course,
and he'll probably have to change his shirt as well, Mike, because if he gets blood on his shirt, yes, he may not be able to see properly, but always had to get him to change his shirt, so he might have to change shirts. It could be that for a bit longer than expected. Arsenal.
Yeah, that's true, and of course there is a few options on the bench for Arsenal, but I doubt Lacazette will be needed to come off. But if he was, then of course Martinelli can come on, and even Willian as well are options that could be used, but I do think Lacazette will be bandaged up and will be back on again as quickly as Arsenal can get him on. But it's not the ideal time for Arsenal to be down to 10 men when Liverpool were starting to get a bit of possession and starting to open Arsenal up a bit, weren't they? Then just in the last 5 minutes or so. There's a chance here now for Liverpool that was kept in by Robertson. Here's Mane. Thomas Partey does well there, and here's Pepe on a run. He goes now. And it's a good play there from Fabinho. There's Robertson into Milner. Back to Robertson again. On to Fabinho and then on to Phillips. And then short ball to Thiago and then out to Alexander-Arnold. And then Liverpool just playing it around. Here's Firmino now. There's Fabinho and Thiago as well. Into Salah. Opportunity for a shot maybe from Liverpool, but Arsenal closed him down very well there. And it was Lacazette, the man that was back on, was helping out his defenders and his midfielders there. He showed that side of it, Russ. And I think Liverpool are complaining that the referee didn't even allow him back on, and he was there to get the block in and get the clearance off.
Yes, I'm not sure if I didn't see the referee wave him back on, Mike, but good defending from Lacazette there. But what I can point out, Mike, I'm not sure if you've noticed this, but what I've been noticing is when say Phillips moves forward, Kabak always stays back inside his own half, and vice versa. Kabak goes forward. Phillips always seems to tend to drop out when Liverpool have possession, so they've got an extra man in the opposite half trying to cause problems for Arsenal. So they've
And
always got at least one man back.
Yeah, and you can saw it with Arsenal as well. When Gabriel was going forward, of course, Callum Chambers dropped in at centre back. And I think might have been Thomas Partey moved into the right back at that position as well to kind of cover and help out. And both sides are doing that really well at the moment. That was almost a sloppy ball there. This goalkeeper Alisson trying to pass it out from the back, and he almost passed it straight onto the Arsenal man. Was it Odegaard there as well? And that's where passing out from the back, it's happened a few times with Arsenal this season, but that's where it can really go against you. As Liverpool come in here with Robertson, and it's left by Kieran Tierney up against Mo Salah, and Salah wins that actually as well, and he knocks it on to Alexander-Arnold now. Gets into the area, Milner and Mane headed straight at Leno. But yeah, just going back to what I was saying in regards to this passing out from the back, Russ, and Alisson almost passed it directly to the Arsenal man there.
He did, yes, but the chance from Mane there, tape header in the end into the arms of Ben Leno. But going back to your point, Mike, Leeds play out sometimes from the back and sometimes get caught out. And Liverpool almost did them, but good job from Milner with the way.
Salah on to Trent Alexander-Arnold, but that was a great play there from Aubameyang back there, helping out his defenders.
And Partey helping out Aubameyang
as well. But he's given the ball away here, though, and it's whipped in. It's Gabriel clears it, but only as far as was that Alexander-Arnold coming into that one and went to have a shot. But it's Lacazette now, and Aubameyang for Arsenal just hooking it clear back to Lacazette, and then on to Martin Odegaard, who loses out. And Alexander-Arnold, the man that was just one of Liverpool's furthest forward, gets back in there and makes the tackle. We've seen that a couple of times. Of course, Lacazette did it, and Alexander-Arnold's done it there as well. And still awaiting our first real action in this game. Of course, Liverpool had that one shot, which went tamely wide of Bernd Leno's goal. Arsenal still yet to create anything and to test the Brazilian Alisson in the Liverpool goal. But I don't think we've had a shot on target in the first 28 minutes or so. And it has certainly been a very cagey game where both sides, know that, of course, with Chelsea's slip up earlier on, there's a real opportunity for them.
Yeah, real opportunity for whoever wins this to close the gap on Chelsea and move up the table, try and get Chelsea's advantage that they've got over the respective teams at the moment. But no one is willing to have a shot on goal, test the keeper. I don't think, Mike, I think at the moment where the both teams are playing, I think both Leno and Alisson can get a deck chair out and just sit there and read a newspaper. There's not been that many shots so far.
And that was, that was true as well. But Leno had that one that went wide of his goal, but obviously he had that under control anyway. And Arsenal are still yet to have a shot on Alisson's goal. And his chance here for Liverpool is Sadio Mane. Tried to feed the ball across to Salah, and Gabriel gets in there, and that was a fantastic tackle from the Brazilian. He got a foot in there where he had to, and that would have been 1-0 otherwise, wouldn't it? It was certainly a good opportunity for 1-0 there if Gabriel didn't get his foot on that.
Yes, good word there from Liverpool again. Mane in behind, almost straight to Mo Salah. Gabriel, as you say, got him again to put a good block in, but also, man, you've got to look at the pass from Mane. It was just behind Salah. If that had been in front of him and behind the defence as well, I think it could have easily been 1-0 Liverpool.
Yeah, and of course that was Callum Chambers there almost gave the ball directly to Andy Robertson, and Leno just hoofs it clear in the end, and Liverpool are just playing it around now at the back with Phillips getting it from Kabak and giving it in to Fabinho, and just going to look up and finds the ball to Firmino now, and he's going to just try and feed the ball through to Mane, who turns his man. There's a couple of good turns in there, and then he trips himself up, and Rob Holding comes out and gives the ball to Odegaard, gives it to Nicola Pepe. But here's Liverpool now. That was a good play by Robertson. Gives it to Firmino. Firmino's going to have a shot, is he? Firmino's body opens up, and that one is not too far away, actually. Bernd Leno was diving there because I think he thought it had a bit of a swerve on that one. And if you look at it, it wasn't too far away. I was watching it again here.
Yeah, not too far away, Mike, as you say. He's running in, he managed to cut inside away from the defence. and just spent it well. I'm just looking at some stats here, Mike, as well from the opening 30 minutes or so from this game. Liverpool had a lot of possession, 70% compared to Arsenal's 30. There's been four shots in total in the game, all gone to Liverpool. One shot on target, which was that Mane Tame header. The others were the 3 shots off target and 1 block shot as well. So Arsenal yet to have a shot on goal in this game, Mike.
That's right, and then sometimes that can happen with Arsenal as well. They can be very hit and miss, and I don't know why when you look at the front four that are there of Pepe, Aubameyang, Odegaard, and Lacazette, and there's certainly enough creativity in there to feed Lacazette, and of course Aubameyang knows where the back of the net is himself. Although actually he's got a very poor record against Liverpool, and in all league games that he's played against the Merseyside side, he's not actually scored against them in the league, and in fact he's yet to even get a shot on target against Liverpool as well in league action. So Lacazette's the one in form, and Aubameyang playing out from the left today is still having a hard time against Liverpool here, and really needs to show some the form that he shows against other teams against Liverpool, because he's very, very poor when it comes to this fixture. Here's Firmino now into Mo Salah. It's well played there by Kieran Tierney. Here's Aubameyang, the one I was just talking about. He loses possession, but Kieran Tierney gets it back. Here's Dani Ceballos now into Thomas Partey. And it's now Rob Holding. And he's going to have to go back to his goalkeeper, the German Bernd Leno. And Leno's going to just clear it upfield towards Pepe. And Liverpool win the header. Robertson there. Milner goes all the way back to his goalkeeper. And of course, that is Alisson. And so last 5 meetings, we've had some really good meetings between the two sides as well. Do you remember the 5-5 in the League Cup, Russ? That was one not too long ago, just a few seasons back now.
Yes, I remember that, Mike, as well. And I've just been looking as well, Mike. This game today here at the Emirates, which we're covering off from Football Commentary Live HQ due to the ongoing COVID pandemic. And it's the 4th meeting this season between the two
That's
sides.
right. Yeah, of course, there was
including the Community Shield, Premier League, League Cup.
Here's a chance. It's Aubameyang from Kieran Tierney's ball. Aubameyang's onside. It's going to cut inside there. Whips it in to Nicola Pepe. Heads it at Alisson's goal. And at very least, that's probably going to go down as an attempt on target, which is Arsenal's first of the game.
Yes, but it's a tame attempt on target. A bit like the Mane header, which is on target as well. Tame header from Nicola Pepe at the back post after a wonderful cross from Aubameyang. Well, I think he tried heading it back across goal to the path of Lacazette. But Arsenal, Mike, have got 2. Liverpool have got 2 wins against. Arsenal have got 2 wins this season against Liverpool. The League Cup won, which they won on penalties, and the Community Shield, which they won on penalties. Lost in the league earlier in the campaign, 3-1, and if we're all back to that one back in September, I think Arsenal were very, very poor on that day. Could have been losing before Lacazette put them in front on that occasion.
Yeah, it was a bit of a strange game, wasn't it? Arsenal took the lead, and then there was a few instances in there that I know me and you spoke about, and I thought Mane potentially and probably should have been sent off on that day, looking back on it. And it's there was a couple of incidences, with some of the goals as well. And, then, of course, Arsenal gifted Liverpool the third with Diogo Jota at the end with the 88th minute goal to seal it. But I thought Arsenal were okay on that day, but not not anything special. As Gabriel's just given the ball away there, but Dani Ceballos gets it back. It's now with Firmino. It was Alexander-Arnold who won the ball, and he's got it again now as well. He's going to give it to James Milner. James Milner has a shot, and that is wide of the goal. Another effort from Liverpool, and another effort still yet to test the German in the Arsenal net.
Yes, it looks a good, fantastic play again from Arsenal down the right-hand side. Firmino did well. And Trent Alexander-Arnold, Milner open, no one spots him. James come running out, but a bit too late to run out. But I think if I just watch it from this angle, Leno may have been struggling to get that, Mike, in my opinion. And if that had been on target, could have been talking 1-0 Liverpool. And Liverpool sixth chance there over the season. Four
Of
off
the game.
target
Yeah.
of the game,
Yeah,
should I
yeah.
say? Four off target, one block shot. Also with that one shot on target, which was that header a few moments ago from Nicola Pepe. But Liverpool seem to be the ones getting closer to opening the scoring today.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're still yet to have that real shot on target or that real gilt edge opportunity yet. And it's, when you look at the players on show in the attacking front from both sides, it's very unusual, isn't it? But, the defences are coming out on top. Is Gabriel, speaking of defenders, the Arsenal man, is going to play it down the line to find Aubameyang, but he's lost out to Trent Alexander-Arnold there, who loses the ball. So he knocks the ball onto Alisson, I should say, who just kind of lets the ball roll into the area and then picks it up. And then Alexander-Arnold again just clears it towards Mane, and Leno comes out and gives the ball to Tierney, and Danny Ceballos. There's Kieran Tierney now, and both goalkeepers there. Both had a bit of work to do, but not the kind of work that you'd expect from them.
No, the both keepers having to do a bit of work there, but working sense of having to stop the opposition from getting in, not having to save a shot from the opposition players.
That's right, and it's given the ball away there. That was Martin Odegaard, I believe, and here's James Milner now into Thiago. And Thiago is going to knock it back to Kabak there, the on loan man, and he's been quite a good player for Liverpool. In fact, he's come in. You can look at both of their centre backs come in, and they've done very well, haven't they? And on the back of the injuries they've got with Virgil van Dijk and Joe Gomez, and of course Joel Matip as well.
Yeah, yes, Mike. And I've been impressed with Kabak when he's come in and he's done very, very well. They had to put Fabinho in there at one stage and Jordan Henderson at one stage, but since some of those players, Henderson got injured as well, and Matip and Gomez and Van Dijk probably out for the majority, probably rest of the season now. They had to go out by loaning Kabak, sign Ben Davis, but Ben Davis is yet to start for Liverpool. Or yet, I don't think he's yet to play minutes in the Premier League for Liverpool since he came in. But I think it'd be interesting to see how it goes if he does play in the latter parts of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Kabak is on loan from Schalke in Germany as well, the Turkish international. He's come in and he's done well for them. So I'm sure Liverpool might even want to make that permanent, but I know they have got some really good centre-backs to come in. But it's certainly a useful squad option to have. The man that's now in possession of the ball as well. And Thiago and Fabinho just combining passes there. And it's now back with Kabak as well, just knocking it around at the back there, and he's across from his centre-back partner now. And then in to Fabinho, and just playing it around. But as I said before, there's 232 games in all competitions, and the last game Arsenal won in the 2-0, so the 2-1, I should say, on the back end of last season, but it didn't tell the story at all because Liverpool were, comfortable champions even before that game, weren't they?
They were indeed,
Liverpool.
Mike. I think at that point it was probably when Liverpool thought Tato's one will just sit back and just play the rest of the games and just try and see if we can win the Champions League. So they're still in the Champions League at that point as well.
That's right, they were indeed, and they've got an opportunity here now as well from this free kick, which Trent Alexander-Arnold, the number 66, is over. And he's just putting the ball down right now. And actually, Arsenal would decided with better record against Liverpool as well. Arsenal, as I mentioned, have won the last fixture. But I'll talk on this in a moment. But Alexander-Arnold whips it in, and Bernd Leno comes out and just parries that one into Nicola Pepe. And Liverpool have actually only won twice in their last 20 Premier League meetings versus Arsenal, winning 2-0 in 2011 and 4-3 in August of 2016 as well. So that's the only two times that Arsenal have lost games against Liverpool at the Emirates Stadium in league action. Is that a bit surprising for you, Russ?
It is, man. Yes, I'm a bit surprised by that. I thought Liverpool would have probably won more games at the Emirates, but Arsenal's own form in past few seasons has been good, and some of the games have won by the solitary song, as Arsenal fans will sing 1-0. to the Arsenal.
Absolutely, indeed. And Arsenal had possession now with Gabriel out to Kieran Tierney. We're about 5 minutes away from the end of what hasn't been an eventful first half at all. It's been very flat, really, in terms of chances created. And hopefully we'll see some action before the end of it. Here's Martin Odegaard now from a header from Callum Chambers. Knocks it on to Nicola Pepe, trying to take it round Robertson. And in fact, he has to go back and use Chambers again, who finds Danny Ceballos, and then on to Thomas Partey, the Ghanaian man, of course, signed from Atletico Madrid for a big fee in the last transfer window. Here's Ceballos again now, on his second year at the club, back on loan again after being on loan last season as well. And what do you make of Danny Ceballos this season, Russ? I know we touched on it briefly earlier, the fact he's got to have a game of today to kind of make up for Xhaka being out, but his Aubameyang there, was he fouled? The referee says no, but I thought Ceballos last season was a really top draw player, and this season he's been a shadow of that, hasn't he?
He has, he's not lived up to the same hype as he did last season, but I'll come back to that moment in a minute.
Here's Salah now, whipped in by, who was that? I'm trying to flip it over the head of Firmino. Here's Robertson now, and it's tidied up by Holding. Here's Callum Chambers and Nicola Pepe on a little bit of a run now. Was he fouled there? The referee says no, I don't think he was. This has gone behind for a throw. So, yeah, what were you saying? Just carry on where you were at.
Yes, I said compared to last season, he's not really. I don't think he's in the same high levels as he did last season. I was impressed last season with Ceballos, but this season he's not seemed to have done that well. I'm not sure whether this season he's just been playing a bit on the bench more often than not, starting the odd game, whereas last season we were mainly in and around the starting 11 most weeks, whereas this season it's not been the case. So maybe that's probably playing a part in the situation, Mike. I'm not 100% sure about it though.
It's certainly no surprise that this game's 0-0 as well. When you look at the stats, which I've got in front of me, no other fixture in the Premier League has seen more goals scored than this fixture. So there's no surprise that it's 0-0 now. There's been 166 in total, with 94 of those going to Liverpool, and that was the most conceded by Arsenal against any single opponent. So no surprise that we're yet to get a goal in this first half for us, is it now, when you look at those stats?
Yeah, when you look at when you read them stats out like you did, Mike, there's no reason. I should say there's no wonder why it's still goalless. Yes, there have been chances created, mainly by Liverpool in this game, but when you look on the face of it, they've not really tested the goalkeeper. Neither side has, to be fair. Arsenal just a tame effort. Liverpool's on a shot on target is a tame effort as well. And if Arsenal were to try and change things and get something from this game, Mike, you look at that man on the screen there, Eddie Nketiah, who could possibly change things up top. Martinelli as well, and potentially Reece Nelson. We've got a man down, which is
Kieran Tierney is down at the moment, but he's just got the physio on, dealing with a problem that he's got there.
Yeah, if I look at the Liverpool side, mate, we'll just wait to see how he gets on with the physios. If Liverpool want to change things and try and test Arsenal a bit more,
you've got to look at Diogo Jota, haven't you?
Yeah, Diogo Jota, Dejan Shaqiri as well, and potentially Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain. Yes, Jones and Keita, Wijnaldum, those types of players can also cause problems. But for me, if I were Jurgen Klopp and I were to change things based on this, three people I'd go for first. Well, two of the people I'd go for first is Oxlade-Chamberlain and Shaqiri. Get a bit more width into the game, get more creativity in the game, and then maybe later on, that's Diogo Jota. We're just looking at the incident here from Kieran Tierney.
Yeah, he just pulled up when he caught James Milner there. Yeah.
In his knee, just called James. I think he just hit his knee when he caught in James Milner. You can see. I'm not sure if you can see, man, but I just noticed there he's limping a bit, and one of his knees were bent in.
Yeah, he's very.
The other one was straight. The other one was strange, and he almost fell there. Stuart Howell was having to help the physio get him off the field of play, and also make a change.
Yeah, I think he's going to be coming off. It looks like probably Cedric will be the man that is forced in to the left back position. Of course, he's not a naturally left-sided player, but it looks like Kieran Tierney. I'm not too sure what's happening there, but he was right over by that side of the pitch, and now he's coming off the other side. But I think he is actually going to be substituted for Cedric, who is now getting stripped off and ready to be introduced. The former Southampton man on the left side, not natural to where he normally would play.
Yes, and I'm just looking at the bench as well. Michael could potentially come on for Arsenal as a replacement there. There's Cedric, there's Hector Bellerin, and potentially move Chambers across to that side. I know he's naturally a centre back or central defensive midfielder, Chambers, but maybe he could do a job then if he wants to fetch on Bellerin a right back, maybe. But Cedric's played a left back a few times for us, so that seemed to me like the obvious choice, and that change has just been made now as we played one of the 2 added minutes, but I think we'll play a bit longer than that.
I think we will, and the injuries are starting to mount up for Arsenal a bit now, and the players aren't available. Of course, Granit Xhaka's unavailable today, and David Luiz, Cedric has just come on there to replace Kieran Tierney, so obviously Tierney might be out for a game or two now, and of course Saka and Smith Rowe are out as well. So there's five players there that are missing from an Arsenal perspective now that would probably be regulars in that lineup. But here's Pepe now from Aubameyang's ball, trying to play the ball into the box there, and it's tidied up by Liverpool and just put out of play for an Arsenal throw-in. And yeah, it's a bit of not a makeshift Arsenal lineup finishing this first half, but if you look at the players that are unavailable, Kieran Tierney, of course, started this game, probably missed the next few now, and you'd put Smith Rowe and Saka in normally, wouldn't you? And also Granit Xhaka would be in centre mid, and probably David Luiz would be in as well. So you're actually missing, you were missing 4 players before this game, and now that's up to 5.
Yes, and I'm wondering where Arsenal will go from here if he's going to be out for he would have the rest of the season, and last Saka's played there's not back fit. Wonder who Arsenal would put there. Would you be happy with, if Mike as an Arsenal fan, would you be happy with Cedric playing that position, or would you rather someone who's an actual left footer playing there?
I think Cedric's the only option that we've got really at the moment. I don't think we can really look at anyone else. I think hopefully Kieran Tierney is just precautionary, and it's only a small knock, which he'll be able to get himself right in the next few days. Of course, we've got a big game, as Matt mentioned earlier, against Slavia Prague. We've got the 2 legs against them, and yeah, of course, we've got some big league games still to come as well. We've got to play Everton, we've got to play Chelsea, and a few other important games in there as well. As the referee is just looking at his watch, is he going to take this throw in? I think Robertson's just thrown it in here, thrown it to Kabak, and then Kabak hasn't got a chance to turn on it because the referee has blown up, and we're goalless at the break. Arsenal 0, Liverpool 0. Liverpool have had a couple of chances wide of Bernd Leno's goal, but the 2 chances that either side have had on goal, on target, are both very weak efforts, and Arsenal really have to look into a couple of different options for the second half. I know Willian's on the bench. I know Reece Nelson's on the bench, Eddie Nketiah as well, but they're really lacking options. Of course, Saka and Smith Rowe unavailable. So we'll hand you back to Matt in the studio, and in a very not entertaining first half. It's Arsenal 0, Liverpool 0. Let's hope we've got a better second half in store for you.
Yes, let's hope so. Thank you very much, Mike Harniman and Russ Vernon. Well, of course, be having a chat with them during halftime very, very soon. Let's take you around what's been happening in England and around Europe. Of course, elsewhere this afternoon in the Premier League, the first game of the day, Chelsea 2, West Brom 5. We have seen some strange results in the strangest of seasons in the Premier League this year. Aston Villa hitting 7 past the champions. Liverpool, Tottenham hitting Man United for 6 at Old Trafford. But where does this one rank? West Brom, remember, you've just had 3 wins all season, winning 5-2 at Chelsea, a side who were unbeaten in Thomas Tuchel's 14 games that he had in charge of the Blues, of course, and was named Manager of the Month, and how that curse has struck again, as Mateus Pereira got 2, Callum Robinson and Mbaye Diagne saw West Brom triumphant at Chelsea. Pulisic and Mount scored for the host, but it wasn't enough, as they were beat. Leeds beat Sheffield United 2-1 in the Yorkshire Derby, as Marcelo Bielsa's side record a big win that's pretty much got another nail in Sheffield United's coffin. Goals from Jack Harrison and Phil Jagielka scoring in his own net. Won it for Leeds. Of course, in between that, Ben Osborne scored for Sheffield United. Manchester City won earlier. They beat Leicester City by 2-0 in a game that was covered on Football Commentary Live, remember, by me and Jack Cunningham. Benjamin Mendy and Gabriel Jesus with both the goals in the second half. See, Manchester City goes 17 points clear of second place. Man United, and it's probably fair to say now that I think the title is heading back to Manchester and the light blue side of it. Of course, in this one, it is Arsenal 0, Liverpool 0. In the Championship, there was one game played earlier on today at the John Smith Stadium. It was Huddersfield 1, Brentford 1. Huddersfield took the lead with Lewis O'Brien, who scored inside 7 minutes before Mads Beck Sorensen scored to cancel out the opener by O'Brien, as Brentford's playoff hopes have took a dent. Southend got beat at home by Carlisle, who, of course, are a side chasing down Newport in 7th for the playoffs. They won by 2-0 at Roots Hall. Southend now 5 points from safety. Goals from Ofrande Zanzala, the Crew Loney, and Jime Toure were the goal scorers in the win down on the Essex coast. Elsewhere in Europe, of course, there was a big night in Spain. It's the Copa del Rey final from last year, of course. It was delayed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And, of course, in 2 weeks' time, there will be the final for this year. So you've got to get your head around that. It does take a lot of doing. But it is Athletic Club 0, Real Sociedad 0, of course. Tonight they're making history by being the two sides from the Basque region to appear in a cup final, of course, in the game being played at the Estadio de la Garatuya in Seville. PSG were beaten 0-1 by Lille at home in Ligue 1. Mauricio Pochettino's team really are struggling to defend their title, aren't they? Jonathan David with the goal in that game. Thiago Jallo and Neymar were both sent off for a reported incident in the tunnel, which, of course, you'll hear a lot more from. Lens and Lyon is goalless at the moment at the Stade Félix Bollaert. And, of course, earlier on in Ligue 1, Monaco beat Metz by 4-0. Serie A currently has some games going on. Bologna and Inter Milan is 47 minutes old. It's Bologna 0, Inter Milan 1. Romelu Lukaku's goal just after half an hour is the difference, as Inter Milan are looking ever more likely they are going to be winning this division for the very first time since 2010. Juve, of course, were 2 down in the Turin derby to Torino, a side struggling near the bottom of Serie A. But Chiesa and Ronaldo with the late goals that saw Juve claw a point in that one. And there's one more game to bring you from the Bundesliga. Freiburg were 1-0 up against Mönchengladbach. Roland Salai scored in that, but Mönchengladbach have clawed it back with Marcus Thuram, son of the great Lilian Thuram, scoring at Borussia Park for Marco Rose's side. Let's talk about now the first half that has unfolded at Arsenal and Liverpool, in a game that is goalless. It's very much got the same feeling of the first half as Leicester and Manchester City did at 5:30. Of course, that game that was covered early on as part of our Super Saturday double. Mike, obviously, it's not been a lot in the two sides. Liverpool have had more of the chances. But the first point I want to raise, it feels like to me, sitting at home, it might just be a bit of a negative set of tactics that Arteta's laid out against a Liverpool side that it feels like are really there to be hit at. What do you make of the setup Arteta's gone with tonight?
Yeah, I'm not too sure on the setup. I think it is a little bit of a negative setup, really, if you look at it and look at the lineup and stuff as well. There's plenty of talent in there from an Arsenal perspective, but there's certain changes I would have made. Personally, I wouldn't have put in Danny Ceballos. I know Granit Xhaka's out, but I think Mohamed El Neni's more of the player I'd have put in alongside Thomas Partey for this one. It does look a little bit negative, but it's also what Arsenal were used to. And yes, we haven't had any chances. We've had the one from Nicola Pepe that was sort of straight at Alisson, and a couple of chances from Liverpool as well that most of them have gone wide of the goal. But I think that there's still plenty to come in this game. I touched on it earlier. There's been so many goals in this game from the past meetings, and there's no other fixture in the Premier League has seen more goals scored. So it's always gonna happen. You get a bit of a dull one now and again. The game's actually seen more hat tricks as well, and it's seen plenty of things like that. Of course, Arsenal are on a form where they haven't kept a clean sheet in the last 8 as well. So that's something that's going to please Mikel Arteta at the break. Of course, we have just lost Kieran Tierney there on the stroke of half time, but I think that it's certainly a brighter 45 minutes from a defensive side. Arsenal have really defended some moments pretty well. I thought Gabriel and Callum Chambers have got a few important crucial blocks in and interceptions, and that's a positive plus, a positive side. But I do think that Lacazette, Aubameyang, Pepe, all of those, Odegaard, have all been very, very quiet, and they've really got to do a lot more in the second half to actually test Liverpool, and first of all get some shots on target and see what's going to happen from there. But it's an interesting second half up for grabs, that's for sure, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. But it's an interesting one anyway, and I'm sure Mikel Arteta will look at his bench, and he's got limited options, isn't he, on the bench in attacking sort of sense as well, and who he can bring on. So he's kind of got to get the best out of what he's got.
Well, yeah, you made an earlier point during the answering of my question about Kieran Tierney going off. Of course, you mentioned right at the end of the first half the injury list that Arsenal have got. David Luiz not involved today. There is Emil Smith-Rowe who's sidelined. Also, Granit Xhaka is sidelined as well after coming back from international duty with Switzerland. That's just 3 of the players. Tierney getting out injured, of course. As we know, it's a big week for Arsenal, given that they've got a Europa League game on Thursday that they cannot take lightly, given the scope of the sides they took down in the knockout rounds in Rangers and Leicester. It must feel like with Tierney that it's an injury that Arsenal really can't afford to lose, surely, Mike.
Yeah, if you look at it now as well, that left-back position is very weak. Cedric's come in, he's not a left-back. He's more natural for playing over on the right side. Of course, Hector Bellerin is the other option for right-back, with Callum Chambers there getting preferred to him. And, Bukayo Saka would have been a potential at left-back as well. He's done a job there now and again. But, yeah, for Kieran Tierney going off injured now, hopefully, as I said before, it's only one that's a short-term injury, and he's able to get himself right and ready for the next game in the Europa League, because without him, it's a big blow. It's a big miss.
Well, it does leave Arsenal depleted at left back, as Mike has pointed out. Cedric, who is a right back by trade, has had to fill that role at the end of the first half, and of course we'll have to do so for the second half. Let's bring Russ Vernon, our co-commentator, back in. Russ, Liverpool point of view, it has been a half though they've largely dominated. Still no goal yet though. But there's got to be a lot of encouragement from Jurgen Klopp, because that looked like, to a little bit of an extent, the Liverpool of old, didn't it? Very dominant and very sort of, quick around the final 18-yard box. It's just that finishing instinctive touch that's missing at the moment, isn't it?
It is, Matt, yes. And you look at it from, as you say, you look at it from a Liverpool perspective. Klopp will be happy with his side's performance in that first half. He'll be saying more of the same, try and gain in behind Arsenal, like they have done on a few occasions. Try and gain the last game like Mane, Salah, Firmino into the game more often, cause a few problems. He'll look to and also say they've had to make a defensive change towards the end of that first half. They've got a right back playing a centre back, try and get at him, try and go down the outside instead of cutting in, because if they cut in, you can easily cut out with his right foot, go down the outside, and when he's attacking, show him the outside, so he has to use his left foot rather than giving him that space to fetch him. But I think with Arteta, he's had to make that one change already. He won't be happy that Liverpool have dominated and they've only had one shot, one on target from that first half. I think he'll be a bit disappointed with that. But I can obviously say, I think Liverpool, like we mentioned, will be the happier of the two sides in the end of that first half. And I think Jurgen Klopp will be saying more of the same. Arteta will be saying, I want to see more from you guys before making any more changes to this, and the potential changes that could make to make a difference. Probably Gabriel Martinelli, in my opinion, be more livelier than Nketiah. But I think if it's still 0-0, like 85 minutes, going Arsenal starting to create chances and getting behind the Liverpool defence, then maybe fetch on Nketiah. Last 5 minutes, still 0-0, ball come across, deflection off a Liverpool player, falls into the path of Nketiah, he puts in, also win 1-0. Arsenal fans won't moan about the other chances that they've wasted or not created. They'll just be happy that they'll look at the scoreboard in the top corner of the screen or listen to this and see the scoreboard across the bottom and think, we've won 1-0, I'm happy with that. Got 3 points, 3 more points add to his tally. Help us push up the table and close the gap on Liverpool, who can get towards with a victory today. They're on, with the points as it stands, Arsenal will be 4 points behind Liverpool going into this game. So going in after this, with this result as it is, going into the next round of fixtures, close the gap even more to 1 point. If Liverpool drop points, Arsenal can slowly catch Liverpool and slowly climb up the table.
I was just going to say, just sorry, Matt, as well. Just quickly, Arsenal have actually failed to score in 10 Premier League matches this season. That's one short of the highest of a 38-game season, which was set back in 2005, 2006. So, yeah, you're being a bit optimistic with that last comment, Russ, in regards to getting a 1-0. We'll be lucky to get a shot on target at this rate.
Well, the only recollection I have of a shot on target actually came from Nicola Pepe with that header, which you can class it as one, but that might just be maybe a case of clutching at straws. One thing I did observe from that first half for us from a Liverpool point of view was, just quickly, Fabinho and Thiago, we know that Fabinho is very much the man who sits in front of the two centre-backs, is the glue, is very much the guy who sticks there, doesn't move. I feel like with Thiago, the position he's in, does it really merit having two very deep midfielders in there? Do you think maybe early on in the second half, Klopp might be tempted to change it because he's got Wijnaldum on the bench? He's also got in there, the likes of Shaqiri, I believe, is on the bench as well. Also, the likes of Curtis Jones just might give that a bit more of an attacking feel, because it feels like there's a bit of a lost sort of a little lost sort of balance in there. To me, what do you make of that?
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from, Matt, but maybe he's done that because he knows the threat of Aubameyang, Lacazette, and Nicola Pepe. So maybe he's gone with put Thiago in there alongside Fabinho to make it a bit more defensive minded for Liverpool to try and not concede, and then maybe towards the end fetch on someone like Wijnaldum towards the end when Arsenal's defence begin to tire out and other players get tire out, and push on to try and get the winner.
Well, the second half is about to get underway. It has felt like in the first half. It's a case to show off, isn't it? With haircuts and tashes on show with Alisson, Aubameyang and Stuart Atwell, the referee, getting a haircut. Let's head back to our two commentators for the second half, Russ Vernon and Mike Harniman.
Thank you very much, Matt, and also welcome back, everyone. So, yeah, we've just got underway about 15 seconds into the second half, and Cedric has the ball in his hands for a throw-in, just tries to throw it down to Lacazette, and it's tidied up there by Liverpool, but only as far as Aubameyang, and he tries to get the delivery in, and it's now with Ceballos and Thomas Partey, and Martin Odegaard as well. And we touched on it earlier with Alex Lacazette, the man who's in more form against Liverpool than Aubameyang. Aubameyang failed to score in all of the 5 of his top flight appearances against Liverpool, failing to register a shot on target in that time as well. And Lacazette has scored in each of his last 3 Premier League appearances against the red side of Merseyside. So Arsenal just in with Aubameyang here. And what do Arsenal do in the second half, Russ? Of course, they've really got to try and up the tempo a bit and, fire some shots off.
They do need to try and create a bit more chances. They need to try and test Alisson a little more, because as I mentioned, the only real shot, as I mentioned in that first half, and I mentioned it there again at half time, the only effort on target in this game, Mike, was from
Nicola Pepe
Nicola Pepe header But that was a tame header as well, so they need to test Alisson a bit more and try and get shots off more instead of trying to walk the ball into the net, which he seems also trying to do today.
That's right, and we've had no changes at the break, just that one change for Arsenal. Cedric coming on for Kieran Tierney just before the end of that first half, and it's him who just heads the ball on there, but only as far as Alexander-Arnold and Salah and Fabinho just involved in there as well. Trying to find Mane with that ball there, and it's up into the air, and Nicola Pepe is back, and Callum Chambers knocks it on towards Ceballos, and it's given away. Here's Robertson for Liverpool, and Mane is just found by Callum Chambers. And Mane as well is another man in good form for Liverpool. He's actually got 7 top-flight goals against Arsenal. The only side he's managed to score more against is another London side. Do you want to have a guess at who that might be, Russ?
I'm going to have a guess at Chelsea, Mike.
No, you're right with the first letter. It is actually Crystal Palace. And,
very interesting there, Mike. I thought it might have been Chelsea.
No, so he's actually scored 8 goals against Crystal Palace, I believe, and then 7 against Arsenal. Something along that way. Anyway, and Mane, of course, scored in the 3-1 as well, as we said earlier, alongside Andy Robertson. Diogo Jota, who also scored for Liverpool that day, and Alex Lacazette, who, as I just mentioned, has scored in the last 3 against Liverpool, scored in that one, and also scored in the 2-1 last season as well. As Liverpool have possession now with Roberto Firmino, who's dropped into centre mid and he's played it out to Trent Alexander-Arnold. Tries to find Sadio Mane and Callum Chambers there. So, in fact, it's Rob Holding, not Callum Chambers. It was Rob Holding who got his foot to that and put it behind for a throw-in.
Yeah, good bit of defending there from Rob Holding. They saw the danger well, and I think Chambers noticed he was in behind there and couldn't get to him. So that's Rob Holding to help him out, and he did well there, Rob Holding.
He did do well indeed. And here's Sadio Mane now, and it's in a battle there with Dani Ceballos, and it's a free kick to Liverpool. And referee Stuart Atwell, as we touched on earlier, given that one. And Fabinho takes it to Milner, and then on to Robertson, and then into Fabinho, into Robertson again. Robertson, and then it's put up into the air by Rob Holding. Is it going to go out of play? No, it isn't. It's kept in. And Liverpool are forced back into midfield, and it's currently with Kabak and now Phillips, the 2 centre-backs, who just move forward whilst they're on the attack there. And now Thiago for Liverpool, and just knocking it around at the back. Of course, the last 5 results for both of these clubs, of course, last time out, Arsenal were a little bit fortunate, some might say, to get a 3-3 draw against West Ham, and that was a very poor first half from an Arsenal perspective, but a much better second. Of course, they lost to Olympiacos in the second leg with El Arabi scoring Olympiacos' goal that day, but they did go through, having won the away fixture with Odegaard, Gabriel and El Neni scoring the Arsenal goals, and El Arabi again. Of course, they won the North London derby in a game we covered as well against Tottenham, with Odegaard scoring there and Lacazette from the penalty spot. And they also drew with Burnley as well. What do you make of the form, Russ? Just Liverpool just in possession right now. Just whilst there's not a lot happening, what do you make of the form of Arsenal and Liverpool's form as well going into this game?
Yeah, both teams have seemed to, just looking at Arsenal's really first and foremost, Mike, and I think for Arsenal, from an Arsenal perspective, I think they might look to be more happier than Liverpool, especially with the, I know they lost to Olympiacos in the game that we covered, Mike, but other than that, they seem to have done well. 3-3 were West Ham last time out, beat Spurs, beat Olympiacos away, drew with Burnley, beat Leicester, and beat Benfica prior to that one as well. I'll come back to Liverpool's in a moment, Mike, as Liverpool just on it with Salah.
Yeah, no Salah, but it's actually blocked there by Ceballos, and I think there's Fabinho there has got a bit of a knock to his foot, but he looks like he's going to be all right to carry on. It's now with Andy Robertson, and Liverpool are in decent form this season as well against the big teams. Anyway, they're I think it's only Leicester that they've lost to, or not lost to. Sorry, they've dropped points against. I think they drew that game. Sorry, and I think they've won The other games that they've played against the big teams is Salah now, and it's hooked clear by Dani Ceballos, and only as far as Thiago. It's gone off of Odegaard, and Milner couldn't get on the end of it, and it's into the hands of Bernd Leno. And yeah, just going back to what I was saying before, Liverpool are in good form against the big teams this season. They've won the majority of those games, and the only one they dropped points against was when they drew with Leicester, Russ. So they might not be everyone's cup of tea this season in terms of consistency, but they're doing very well against the big boys anyway.
Yes, they lost to Leicester back in February as well, mate, 3-1. But other than that, they lost to Chelsea in the game that you covered, Mike.
Mason Mount scoring that day. I remember now. Yeah,
the last win was against Wolves back in March, 15th of March.
Mm-hmm.
There as well, they also beat Sheffield United. They lost to Fulham at home, and Fulham seem to be putting up a fight down at the bottom of the table. Lost to Everton, lost to Leicester, lost to Man City, lost to Brighton as well, and Brighton picking up a bit of decent form, but beat West Ham and beat Tottenham.
That's right. Just going back
to January as
what
well.
I was saying. Yeah, no, just going back to what I was saying. It was actually they've won 5 out of their last 6 away league games in all away games with their only defeat being against Leicester. That's in all competitions, I believe, and that was what I was trying to hint at, rather than actually what I kind of come out with, because obviously they're showing that they're a little bit inconsistent in those games as well. So it is actually more into the last 5 or 6 games. Yeah. There's a free kick here, and the referee is calling. Who's that over? Because Thiago's down. Just trying to see who's calling over to talk. So I think it might be Dani Ceballos. It is indeed, and he is going to get away without a booking, it looks like. And Liverpool have this free kick. Thiago is absolutely fine, and Fabinho is over it and gives it to Robertson, who gives it back to Fabinho again, and then on to Thiago, who just gives it in to Phillips, and then on to Kabak. Kabak has to knock it back to goalkeeper Alisson, though, all in yellow, and to take a couple of touches and try and just put his foot on the ball and slow it down a bit. And then gives it out to Kabak, and then he's going to go into Phillips. He's going to go back to his goalkeeper again, trying to be closed down there by Lacazette. But Liverpool are able to play their way out and passing it around quite nicely at the moment. The side in light blue tonight, and looking very much in that first half anyway, the better of the sides, and the side that actually looked like creating opportunities and getting a couple of shots off. It's currently Aubameyang for Arsenal, though. Here's Cedric, of course, substitution just before half-time to replace Kieran Tierney. He's come in to give the ball into Pepe there. Into Odegaard. Sorry, Chambers, in fact. Trying to find Odegaard. Wasn't able to, though. And here's Liverpool on the break now. Here's Roberto Firmino. Mo Salah just looks up. Sadio Mane looks like he might be the only man on his own there. And Gabriel does well. He stood up nicely there, the Brazilian, didn't he? He really just said to Mo Salah, "Yep, you're not getting past me, and you can try all you want. I'm just going to stand there like a brick wall, and you're not going to be able to get over me."
Yes, fantastic bit of defending there from Gabriel Michael. And where probably said as well was, you may get past Mohamed, because Mohamed Salah did go beyond him, but you're not taking the ball past me at the same time, either one or the other. And he got past him on that occasion, and Gabriel came away with the ball. But on another occasion, maybe the ball goes past him and he fouls Salah and goes into the book. But it looks like El Nani's about to come on here now, Mike. And I'm wondering who probably could come off here. It could be probably Dani Ceballos for me, or even probably Ceballos for me rather than Partey, in my opinion.
I'm not too sure. That's a bit of a poor throw there. Thomas Partey. There's a chance here for Liverpool. Come off from Gabriel's midriff there, but that was really poor from an Arsenal perspective. He almost played himself into all sorts of trouble. But I think when then he comes on, Mikel Arteta is looking at keeping Thomas Partey he's kind of giving him 55, 60 minutes every game at the moment. So probably be Thomas Partey that makes way, as much as I'm in agreement with you that Danny Ceballos would probably be the more sensible to take off. But we shall find out in a moment. Although Arsenal have a free kick here first, as Firmino was offside, and Holding just gives it into Ceballos, who plays it out to Cedric, and the referee is going to let the substitution take place first of all, and then go back for that free kick again in a moment, as El Neni is coming on. And you did call it. It is Danny Ceballos coming on and coming off, and the Egyptian El Neni is coming on to replace the man who's on loan for a second time from Real Madrid.
Yes, and Ceballos he's done well in past, man, but he's not really set the game alight. And El Neni, strong, possible, good replacement in there. I think if you look at more natural replacement for Ceballos rather than Partey, because Partey likes to go forward, whereas El Neni likes to stay back or go forward. So those two can interchange. So I think it was the most sensible option there.
Free kick here. Lacazette was just caught. Liverpool going to get Diogo Jota. Diogo Jota's going to come on in a second as well. But just want to see what happened there with Lacazette. He's gone down and he's rolling around on the floor there. Not too sure who it was that caught him, but the Arsenal man is up and back on his feet again. I think it was actually Thiago there. It's just stood on his foot, but I think it was an accidental collision as he was aiming to get the ball.
Yes, nothing into that, man. Nothing more than just a free kick there for me. The crowd was awarded, and nothing else was given by referee Stuart Howell. And
there's a free kick for Arsenal. Cedric on to Gabriel, and then switches it across to Callum Chambers now, and he's gonna lose the ball there. And Pepe wins the throw in. But Jota's just about to come on in a moment for Liverpool, and he's in good form. He obviously scored against his former side Wolves last time out. So he's and he scored a couple of times in this season. Arsenal have possession now with Thomas Partey onto Lacazette, and Alexander-Arnold just lets it roll out for a throw. And this is probably going to be Liverpool's opportunity to make that sub, but they're going to leave it a moment as Alisson now has the ball here from the touch back to him from from Phillips. I think that was. Now it's James Milner. Back with Phillips again. He's going to go back to his goalkeeper. And he's going to give it to James Milner, who goes back and uses him again. And it's now with Fabinho, who gives it back to the goalkeeper, Alisson again. He just takes a touch and gives it into James Milner. And then he hooks it upfield towards Mane. And Rob Holding defends that well. And here's Gabriel now on a marauding run out of defence. Gives it to Odegaard, and he wants a free kick there, and the referee agrees as well, as Fabinho is the man that catches him. Diogo Jota coming on now. Who do you reckon this is going to be for us? Actually, in fact, the border's just gone up, so it's Andy Robertson, and it's an attacking change.
It is an attacking change, and what I think will happen here, Mike, I know it's fixing on a striker for a defender here. I'm wondering if James Milner will probably slot in a left back like he has done for some times, and maybe Salah or Firmino drop a bit further deeper into the midfield area in place of where Milner's been playing.
Yeah, so that's a good shout. Here's Cedric now for Arsenal. Cedric has a shot, and it's straight at Alisson. But yeah, that's a good shout. James Milner will probably move in at left back, and Jota has come on to replace Robertson.
Yeah, but good play, Mike, from Aubameyang into Cedric, who forced a good save from Alisson, but he was never really going to test him much more than just that. It was a bit of argy-bargy between Sadio Mane and Callum Chambers and Rob Holding there for a second.
Yeah, I'm not too sure there was a load in it, to be honest with you. And the referee seems to agree as well. He's just given the free kick, and that was it. So not to worry any more about it than that. As Liverpool have possession now with Phillips and Kabak, and out to the left side where James Milner has slotted in, as you said. And it's now Liverpool just passing it around at the back. And, of course, James Milner isn't a natural left back, but he's played there enough times and he's very familiar with the role. So I'm sure it's no bother at all to fill in at left back for him, because he's a very versatile player that can play anywhere, really. He can play in a number of positions along that midfield. And, of course, being a Leeds fan, you know all about James Milner-Russ, don't you? So
Yes, came through the youth ranks of Leeds and played in a number of positions. Only player I don't think he's ever played in his career. I may be wrong, but I don't think he's ever played in goal. And I think if you ask him to play in goal, I think he'd do a decent job in there. So Mr. Reliable is James Milner, who's on possession now, Mike.
And he's given the ball into Mane as well. It looks like Callum Chambers has fouled him there, and the referee, does he agree? I know Mane's very ferociously shouting across to the referee there. And Thomas Partey's just getting into the ear of the ref a little bit as well. But in fact, doesn't look like he has given a free kick. In fact, the ball is in Callum Chambers' hand, so it's gone behind for an Arsenal throw. And I thought possibly that might have been a free kick for Liverpool there. And I can see why Mane was complaining a little bit, because he was caught. It's good header there by Callum Chambers onto Aubameyang. Thomas Partey now. Aubameyang tries to find Lacazette, and Lacazette won't be able to get that one because it's defended well by Kabak, and Alisson just hooks it clear, looking for Jota, and well defended by Callum Chambers again. He's having another very good game today, and it's now with Liverpool, and Jota into Firmino. It looks like he's dropped back a little bit into a more of a number 10 kind of role, and here's Salah, Alexander-Arnold, and whips in Jota, and it's in the back of the net. But Leno had absolutely no chance with that one. And good play by Liverpool there. And Diogo Jota, who scored in their last game away at Wolves, scores again today. Of course, the man who scored in that last win against Arsenal earlier in the season as well has done it again. So, Mo Salah involved there as well. Played the ball out to Alexander-Arnold, and then he whips the ball in. And then Jota heads the ball. Leno can get a hand on it, but he can only parry it into his own net. And Liverpool leading by a goal to 0.
Yes, good bit of play from Salah on to Trent Alexander-Arnold. It's fantastic cross. And you can see Diego Jota there climbing above Chambers and Holding. And Leno, I feel Leno could have done a bit better there, instead of trying to palm it, could have probably tried catching it. But he tried palming it out, and Diego Jota has netted his 7th Premier League goal of the season, and Arsenal are behind. Arsenal and Liverpool 1.
And what do you think Arsenal need to do now? If you look at the bench as well, 2 subs already made, 2 quite defensive subs as well with El Neni and Cedric. Of course, Cedric coming on because Tierney got injured, so he had to. And even here, Callum Chambers has a knock now, so Pablo Mari might have to come on, and then that uses up all of the options, and Arsenal can't bring on another attacker.
Yes, or maybe, Mike, with Chambers playing a right back and Chambers down injured here, maybe he could fetch an extra Bellingham, put Bellingham a right back and no fetch. But if he were to make an attacking substitution, probably Gabriel Martinelli would probably be my choice to come on and to try and change things for Arsenal and try and get back into this game. But at the moment, Arsenal are toothless in front of goal. Yes, they've had 2 shots on target, but 2 tame efforts on target. But Liverpool, the first real effort on target from Diego Jota, the other one was a tame effort from Sadio Mane in the first half, then in the back of the net. And I must say, Mike, I'm sorry to say this with you being an Arsenal fan, but I must say Liverpool, in my opinion, deserve the lead.
Yeah, and I'd have to agree. I'm a realist, mate. I'll say it as it is. And I thought Arsenal, the side that obviously I've been a supporter of for a number of years, have been very, very poor today. I think, we've been very toothless in front of goal, as you said. We've not created anything really. We've had those 2 half chances, not even half chances at goal. And they're the only chances we've even had. We've not had any chances wide of goal or anything really, as Cedric's just fouled there. It looked like he was fouled there, but the referee says no, and Liverpool have a chance to counter here with Mo Salah now and Alexander-Arnold again trying to whip this one in. It's given away there to Thomas Partey, who intercepts well, and Lacazette just takes a couple of touches and then puts it out for a throw because Cedric's still down, and I certainly thought that was a free kick. What did you make of that, Ross?
Just seeing it again here, Mike. I wasn't sure on first screen. Let me just have a look again here. Didn't get anything on the ball like the referee should have initially thought, and that should have been a free kick to Arsenal. He's got this wrong again. It was a clear stamp on his foot. Nothing given by Stuart Towell and the officials, but I must say they got that one wrong.
I don't think it's a malicious collision. I think it's an accidental collision with Cedric, but of course Cedric's running at pace as well. But certainly was a free kick, no doubt. And I'm not too sure why that one wasn't given as a free kick. And Arsenal got players falling in all sorts of place at the moment. Cedric's coming off as well now because he's obviously got the knock, so he's had to go off. Callum Chambers just got a knock. This injury list is really starting to nut up. We said it earlier on with Xhaka, Louise, Saka, of course, Emil Smith-Rowe, Kieran Tierney now, and now Cedric and also Callum Chambers, who have both got knocks as well in this game. And it looks like, Arsenal really are looking at being bare bones at the moment. Of course, the front line's still there, but you can't always rely on Aubameyang and Alex Lacazette to get you the goals. And if Callum Chambers or Cedric have to come off, then what do Arsenal do? Especially if Cedric comes off, then that really is a big worry at left back because he's the man that would have to play on Thursday if Tierney's injury is as bad as it looks at first. Here's Salah now. Salah's in against Gabriel. Salah has put it into the back of the net there underneath Bernd Leno. And Liverpool are 2-0 to the good and looking good for it as well. Arsenal got no way back. I said that against West Ham as well. And of course, that kind of turned itself on its head. But, even that comeback is, that comeback looked more likely than this one. Arsenal are in all sorts of trouble at the moment. That was a good ball down the line to Mo Salah. Gabriel tried everything he could. Salah got in, and then he put the ball under the legs of Bernd Leno, who again, as you said with the first, probably could have done better with that one as well.
Yes, he could have done, Mike. And also, Mike, not only could Bernd Leno could have done better there, but Gabriel, I thought, could have done better as well because balls got played in over the top. Gabriel's got the head start on him. Was slid. He didn't need to slide in. He just needed to stay on his feet, force him even further wide, and he could have probably prevented that goal from happening. But he slid in, which allowed Salah through, and Leno keep your legs shut, and it'd be still 1-0. Leaves his legs open, and Salah in that kind of form pushed it through the legs. 93 goals in 150 Premier League appearances for Mohamed Salah, and good going. Just 2 behind for Man United man, Ruud van Nistelrooy.
Yeah, then the 3 ahead of him are just Alan Shearer, Harry Kane, and who was the other one?
Sergio Aguero, who played for Man City earlier, who was leaving at the end of the season.
That's right. Sergio Aguero was the other one. So all great strikers. And and they're looking at Gabriel there about that incident here. As Sadio Mane's in. Sadio Mane tries to play the ball, but it's only as far as Aubameyang gives it to Thomas Partey, who gives the ball away, does he? And Firmino loses out. And Gabriel hooks it clear, but only as far as Phillips, who knocks it on to Salah. And then Alexander-Arnold into Thiago, and then Thiago gives it to Firmino, and then it's Mo Salah now, and it's gone off of an Arsenal man there, and Cedric hooks it clear, but only as far as the first Liverpool scorer, Jota, who's got it back now as well, and he can have an opportunity to shoot again, as he know, and it's a little bit of a miscued effort there from Mo Salah, the man who got Liverpool second just a moment ago. And
should have done better there for me, Salah, but just watching his goal again, Mike. If you see it, Gabriel shouldn't have gone down there, and Leno should have kept his legs shut. If those 2 things happened, if you look at Gabriel's, could have easily got that ball, but he decided to slid in, which allowed Salah to nip in behind, and then keep your legs shut, and you've had to try and dink it over here, and you would have probably had defenders clearing it offline, but he shouldn't have opened his legs there, but that chance there, poor defending again from Arsenal.
And then Rob Holding has just hooked that one, but only as far as Kabak, and it's gone out of play. And it's 71 minutes in. Liverpool leading this one by 2-0. And Arsenal, you said it before, I've said it, they're looking toothless, not created anything. Aubameyang and Lacazette and Pepe and Odegaard have all been very well dealt with by this Liverpool midfield and by their back line, haven't they?
They have indeed, man. They have indeed. And I think, I wonder if, Marcus, you see it a lot of times when, you say when Emre was in charge, the players fell out with Emre and started performing like this, not having many shots on target. If you look at this, do you fear, Mike, that the players have fell out of love and don't want to play now for Mikel Arteta, or do you still think Arteta can turn this? I know it's not been a bad run of form of man, but still been some defeats in there. I know you drew last time out, but then won against Spurs. Do you
Diogo
think?
Jota's just gone in the book there for a foul on Thomas Partey. And to answer that question, I thought, we were better against Tottenham when Aubameyang wasn't playing. I think, my preferred front four would look at Saka and Smith Rowe being unavailable. You can't shoehorn Aubameyang and Lacazette into the same team. It's been tried many times, doesn't work. Gabriel Martinelli needs to be in this side. At least he's young, hungry and determined, and actually wants to make things happen. Of course, he was involved in the goal against West Ham as well, the Lacazette equaliser. And for me, you can't shoehorn those two into the same team. So one of them's got to miss out. And Liverpool are in here with Mo Salah. But Leno makes the save, and he's had to claw that away at a second time as well. And he's just been caught there by Mo Salah as he was trying to get it away the second time, and complaining the fact he got a knee on him there. But you can't shoehorn Aubameyang and Lacazette into the same team. For me, it's Pepe, Martinelli, Odegaard, and Lacazette, and Aubameyang, as shown, needs to be on the bench and maybe used and brought off the bench. As much as I love Aubameyang, and I think he's been great for us the last couple of seasons, this season he's been very hit and miss, and it doesn't work when you try and play the both. Here's Cedric now. It's given away. Mo Salah's in here. Mo Salah up against Cedric again. Going to turn and give it to Roberto Firmino now. Into Jota, back to Salah, back to Firmino, and then on to Jota. Up against Gabriel. Jota whips it in, and it's only as far as Pepe, though. He's going to get a chance to bring it out of midfield. And here's Thomas Partey with the ball now. Just touched onto him by Odegaard. And then Aubameyang heads it on to Lacazette. And he turns and tries to find the run of Pepe. And it's good play there by Kabak. And then he gives it to Fabinho, who beats El Nani, just shrugs him off the ball there. And El Nani loses out to Diogo Jota and gives away a free kick as well when a referee, Stuart Atwell, is trying to call him over to possibly give him a little bit of a talking to and a calming down there, Russ. But at the moment, it's all hurry from Arsenal, but they're not getting near enough to the Liverpool goal, are they? Liverpool are just defending it very easily.
Yeah, Liverpool now what they're deciding to do, and they're shutting up shop, defending from the front, making it hard for Liverpool to get past the strikers, making it hard for the Arsenal to get past the strikers and the midfielders as well, pressing from the front, closing Arsenal down, not giving Arsenal time on possession when they have got it. As you see, they're closing down from Milner there against Chambers, and that's what Arsenal need to work to be quicker and getting behind, or try and get behind and try and force some more shots on targets. So far, 2 shots on target, but neither of them have really troubled Alisson. They've been comfortable for the Brazilian.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just looking at the next couple of fixtures for both sides as well. Liverpool in particular got some very tricky games. They've got Real Madrid on, is it Tuesday, I believe, in the Champions League first leg. Then they've got Aston Villa. Then they've got the second leg at Anfield against Real Madrid. And then they've got Leeds away and also at home to Newcastle, as the ball was whipped in there from Phillips, but gone behind for a throw-in. It looked like Lacazette lost out there. It was Thiago, and then Phillips marauding forward, whips it in, and they're trying to claim it took a deflection off of Callum Chambers, but the referee said no, and Arsenal have possession with Cedric right now. And I will look at the Gunners' next 5 fixtures shortly as well, as Gabriel and El Neni and Rob Holding are just interchanging passes now. And El Neni Holding plays it down the line towards Aubameyang, who is nowhere near going to get on the end of that. But there's some tricky games in there for Liverpool. Of course, we touched on the fact they've got Real Madrid and Aston Villa. Your boys Leeds in there as well, and Newcastle as Aubameyang makes way for Martinelli in Arsenal's third change of this game. And finally, I might get to see the front four that I actually want. It might be a bit too late though.
Yeah, probably a bit too late. Mike should have done that before the first Liverpool goal or after the first Liverpool goal for me. But he's come off without the captain's armband. But before the game's been restarted, he's got to give the captain's armband on to the player. So it's got to execute to Lacazette before the play could even restart.
And what do you make of Aubameyang this game? He's been very, very quiet. Yet again, failed to register another shot on target against Liverpool, who had just made a sub themselves. Firmino just made way for Wijnaldum, I believe that was. But yeah, Aubameyang again has been very poor tonight, hasn't he, Russ?
He has indeed, Mike. And he's never even tested Alisson at all, not even created any chances for Lacazette or for Nicola Pepe or for anyone else, really. And when he has got the ball, he's not looked interested tonight. And as you can see, Martinelli straight into the action, forcing Liverpool into a mistake.
Exactly, and that's what I like about Martinelli. He's very, he's very determined. You know, the cause might be beyond Arsenal, but he's going to show some fight, and that's why I like this kid. I think he's got a real future, a real bright spark for this football club, and certainly showed more in the first 5 seconds than the Aubameyang showed in 78 minutes. Here's Callum Chambers now with an Arsenal throw. Going to throw it in to Odegaard. It's currently Arsenal 0, Liverpool 2. Goals from Jota and Salah, who actually both of them scored in the reverse fixture at Anfield in the 3-1 as well, I believe, earlier on in the season. And it's a Liverpool throw right now. He's going to just throw it in there. In fact, I don't think Salah scored. I think it was actually Mane, wasn't it, Russ, who scored the goal I was on about before. So it's currently in possession here with Liverpool now, and it's Thiago knocks it back to Kabak there, and Alexander-Arnold. I think Milner had a touch as well onto Salah, and Cedric just heads that one out of play for a Liverpool throw, which Trent Alexander-Arnold is going to take. So Liverpool have had 12 shots to Arsenal's 2, and Arsenal only managed 5 touches in Liverpool's box so far as well, going into the final 10 minutes of this game, and that's very poor. That's really poor from an Arsenal perspective, isn't it, Russ? You have to look at that, and you have to look at the front four that Arsenal have got, and kind of really start to worry a little bit about that, because Arsenal's front four, yes, on paper they're good, but they're not. Yeah, they might not be showing the fight for the manager now. Of course, Mikel Arteta wasn't everyone's cup of tea. I'll go out and I'll openly admit that he wasn't mine. It wasn't my first choice, and if given the opportunity, we could have gone in and got somebody better. I would have taken somebody with more experience, but we've got to kind of make do with what we've got now and trust the process, is what people are saying. But there isn't much of a process at the moment. The process would be to get a couple of shots at goal. That'd be a start.
Yes, they've not really, like I've mentioned all throughout the game, Mike. Alisson tonight could really have got a deck chair out, just put it up, ask for the newspaper from the manager or the coaching staff, and just read that tonight. That's how poor Arsenal have been in front of goal.
And here's Milner to Salah, and then it's a shot here by Wijnaldum. I think that was straight at Bernd Leno, who claims that one. And you've got to look at Arsenal for both goals. I think goalkeeper Bernd Leno could have easily done better with both. And the first one, the second one, Gabriel as well, the man in possession. It was just giving the ball away there to Alexander-Arnold, onto Salah, and then Mane, and then it's fired in for free. And there you go, Gabriel yet again. That's 2 mistakes by him, and there's a third goal for Liverpool. Diogo Jota putting the ball into the back of the net, and this Arsenal side are just falling apart at the moment. And this is against the Liverpool side that are not even having a fantastic season themselves. Try and pass it out from the back there. Leno to Gabriel, intercepted by Alexander-Arnold onto Salah. Mane leaves it for Jota, and then there you go. It's 3-0. Dead and buried, game done pretty much, isn't it, Russ, now?
It is, Michael. What were Gabriel trying to do there? Instead of just looking to try and play out wide to the left there into Cedric, well, he just booted downfield. Instead of trying to find Cedric, his pass was cut out. Alexander-Arnold plays it through. Salah onto Mane, one touch, lays it into the path of Jota, and Jota says, "Thank you very much." And I just saw an image there of Mikel Arteta, and
He doesn't look happy. He looks lost. Yeah, he looks lost.
He's lost. As Martinelli, Mike, has just gone down.
Head injury, yeah.
Head injury. It looks like it was a clash there. I'm not sure which Liverpool player it was who he clashed with there. I'm not sure who he was, but Arteta, man, just as we see him on the screen here, looks like he's a worried man. He looks like he may be someone who'll be looking as if to say, I wonder how long my job's going to be. I wonder how long I'm still going to be in this job for.
Yeah, well, you have to look at it. It's very poor performance today. You can look at it and say, yes, Arsenal without, 4, maybe 5 real first teamers that would have started this game. But, what can you say? You have to look at the performance. The performance has been very poor as Reece Williams is coming on for Liverpool now. And this is just going to be straightforward for them, really. It's Kabak, I think, coming off, isn't it? And, he's just going to have a chat with Jurgen Klopp there as well. And it's an easy day at the office for him. It really is. And Arsenal been really, really poor, created nothing. And Mikel Arteta has to worry about his job because this isn't good enough. This is Arsenal Football Club. It's a club that needs to be challenging for Champions League football. We've been out of the Champions League for far too long. Here's Cedric now onto Martinelli, who's up and okay with that injury. And it's back to Cedric now. Thomas Partey across field to Chambers. That's good play there by Jota. Has Williams come on yet, Russ? Or we're still waiting for that one? He did for Kabak.
Williams has come on for Kabak now, mate. Yes, and Kabak's done well today. And like I said, Mike, he didn't even wasn't really rarely troubled. And I don't think the Liverpool defence today have got out of first gear defensively, but when they've gone forward, likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Robertson in the first half, Milner the majority of the second, and since Robertson went off, when they've gone to the attacking third, they've moved up through the gears to try and create a bit of energy, get more goals to get this game sewn up. But defensively, they've just had to be in first gear all the way throughout and just had a nice easy stroll at the back.
That's right. And of course, Arsenal dropped down a few places as well, at least a place with Leeds' victory at 3:00. So your boys are going to be above Arsenal as well come, 10 minutes' time.
I know, Mike, if someone said to me with 8 games to go at the start of the season, you'll be above Arsenal on the table, I'd have snapped their hands off. I didn't think we'd be above Arsenal at this stage in this season. And I didn't think we'd be sitting in 10th at this stage in the season. I predicted Leeds to be 12th come the end. And Arsenal, Mike, will still be above Leeds in the table.
Is it on goal difference, is it? Yeah.
On goal difference. Leeds -1, Arsenal +5. But that could easily change if they concede more goals, Arsenal, in this game, or lose the next few matches and concede quite a few more goals in their next few matches. And Leeds win the next few and score a few goals, so that could easily change. But Leeds -1 goal difference, Arsenal +5, same level of points. Arsenal lose their next game, Leeds win their next game in the league, and who knows, Leeds could be above Arsenal.
Exactly, and that's a great season for Leeds as well. We'll probably touch on them off stream a little bit later. Me and you will have a conversation about that, or we might have a conversation with Matt as well in regards to Arsenal's fortunes this season and. What Arsenal can expect really from the final few games. Of course, Champions League football is looking like it's Europa League is the only way into that. And of course, there's plenty of teams in there, not just Slavia Prague, but Villarreal as well, Manchester United, Ajax, Roma. There's plenty of teams in there that Arsenal have to contend with. And it's certainly not going to be an easy run if Arsenal want to do it that way.
And then also, Mike, another team you've not mentioned in that mention there
Milan
about
as
the
well.
Europa League,
Yeah.
AC Milan, plus also Dinamo Zagreb as well. If you look at Dinamo Zagreb, they've seemed to have done well. AC Milan have actually been knocked out by Manchester United, but if you
Inter,
look at it,
I think.
I'm not sure if Inter's still in, but we'll have a check later. But Dinamo Zagreb knocked out Tottenham, so if Arsenal come up against them, they could prove
There's a chance
they could
here
knock out
for
another North
Arsenal.
or
Nicola
side
Pepe,
out.
Russ. Yeah, Nicola Pepe's into the area here, Russ, and he's going to win the corner ball. Sorry about that. I just had a attack.
No problem, Mike. But that good defense, good attacking there from Nicola Pepe. That's first real sight of an Arsenal player trying to take on this Liverpool defence throughout the entire match.
Yes, too little, too late. As Odegaard's over this corner ball, he's going to whip it in, and it's headed on by the Liverpool man and clear. But only as far as Thomas Partey, who has a shot, and I think he took a deflection off his own man in the end, and comes off the head of Pepe, who gives the ball back to El Neni, who is forced all the way back to his German counterpart, goalkeeper, not counterpart, sorry, his German goalkeeper, Bernd Leno, who just clears it. And Liverpool just playing it around at the back now. There's Williams and also Phillips and a couple of the other boys there just getting involved as well. James Milner, I think, was there also, just knocking the ball around quite simply. And we'll touch on it now, Russ. Who would your contenders be for man of the match from a Liverpool perspective? And if there's anyone from an Arsenal perspective, certainly you've got to look at Liverpool and you've got to look at Diogo Jota, haven't you, for what he's done when he's come on as an option?
Yeah, Diogo Jota's an option, as is for what he's doing when he's come on, as is Mohamed Salah, Sadio Mane, Firmino, the front lot for Liverpool today. Thiago has done well today for Liverpool, as has Fabinho. So there's quite a lot of contenders for Liverpool. I've already chosen my man of the match, and I'll reveal it after this attack, which has come to an end with Mane off in an offside position. I can reveal, and it'll be out on the screen right now. My man of the match, sponsored by Country Services, is Mohamed Salah, and I'll explain the reasoning at full time in our conversation with Matt at the end of the programme. But Mohamed Salah is the Commentary Services man of the match here on Football Country Live, chosen by me and Mike. Would you agree with that, or would you find it hard to disagree with that?
Yeah, well, you have to look at Jota. I would have gone with Jota personally. I thought he's done really well. He's got himself 2 goals when he come on. Fabinho's got the TV man of the match, and I thought he's putting a good show in, as Thiago as well. But yeah, Kabak as well, when he's not had anything much to do, but he's easily a contender for Liverpool as well, getting a clean sheet again, it looks like. Phillips, there's plenty of players from a Liverpool perspective, and I don't even want to try and give you one from an Arsenal perspective, because I really would be clutching at straws if I even tried.
Yes, and when you said if you're anyone from an Arsenal perspective, I thought I'll just read off Liverpool ones, because that's the team who's really tried today, not Arsenal. If we were to pick possibly an Arsenal man of the match, I'd probably go with Leno. I know he's made a mistake for a couple of the goals, but he's kept the score down.
Yeah, but I would have probably said Callum Chambers would be my man. That's actually looked okay, but then he got that one block in the first half. But I think he's been let down by a lot of the other guys, the strikers, the other attackers as well. And Gabriel was at fault for 2 of the goals, or at least 1 of the goals. Leno's been at fault for the other goals as well. Would you make a Leno? Do you think Arsenal should maybe look up giving Matt Ryan a bit more of a game time?
Yes, I think Matt Ryan should come into the side and get a bit more game time here, as Gabriel goes into the book for bringing down Diogo Jota there, and that's a booking for the Brazilian centre-back for Arsenal, his second booking of the campaign. But I think Matt Ryan should come in. Leno today, and in some of the other matches which I've seen from Arsenal, has not performed well, and I can see Mikel Arteta changing his keeper around in the not so near future if the performances from Berliner continue to perform like he has done.
And just before this free kick's taken, Arsenal have got Slavia Prague next. It's whipped in, and it's a header there from Mane. It was a free header as well from Alexander-Arnold's free kick. If he got anything on that, that would have been 4, I believe. But I was just going to say, Arsenal got Slavia Prague in the Europa League on Thursday. And then next weekend, Sheffield United away from home. Then Slavia Prague in the reverse. Then Fulham at home. And then Everton as well, who are doing quite well themselves this season. Arsenal still have Chelsea to play as well, as I mentioned earlier on. But it's a bit of a, I don't want to say an easier run-in for Arsenal in the league in the next 2 with Sheffield United and Fulham. But they're games that they should be winning. But, with these injury crisis and all the injuries mounting up and performing like this, and you never know, do you, Russ? And, of course, Sheffield United themselves beat Liverpool this season, and Fulham have got a few results lately too.
Yeah.
And we've just lost Russ there as I tried to bring him in. We'll try and get him back in a second.
Yes, Mike, I'm here, mate. As I was saying, I think Sheffield United has already been Manchester United this season at Old Trafford as well. And I think Fulham, like you mentioned, beat Liverpool this season. So there's not going to be easy games for Arsenal in the next run-in. And Slavia Prague, you've already touched on. Beat Leicester, beat Rangers in Europe. They're not going to be an easy tie either. So some tough games coming up for Arsenal, especially with no recognised left back in your side.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, you said it there. Actually, Fulham and Sheffield United both beat Liverpool. So that's another one they've done themselves this season. Yeah. As Nicola Pepe gives it to El Neni. Just knocks it on to Gabriel and then on to Cedric. And this game, as I said, probably about 15, 20 minutes ago, is all done now. And Martinelli just loses his header there to Alexander-Arnold. Here's Cedric now onto Martinelli. And they're just showing the stats. It doesn't make for good reading from an Arsenal perspective. 2 attempts on target to Liverpool's 14. And 2 attempts, for Arsenal's... for Arsenal, 14 for Liverpool, and then Liverpool have had 6 and Arsenal have had 2 on target. Really not a great performance. As Alisson clears it long there towards Salah, up against Gabriel. Salah tries to find Mane, and it's Leno who comes to the rescue there, makes the save. And the final whistle has been blown. Arsenal players are really falling to the floor, not happy, a lot of them. I think Callum Chambers being one of them. Mikel Arteta fist pumps with Jurgen Klopp and kind of nudges him as he goes past him as well. But yeah, convincing for Liverpool, poor from Arsenal. Finished Arsenal 0, Liverpool 3. And we had more goals and action in the second half, but not the way I'd have liked it for it to go, Matt. And yeah, we'll have to see if they can pick me up next time when we hopefully try and get a better result next time out when we have the Europa League.
Yes, let's hope so. Of course, they do entertain Slavia Prague on Thursday. What was very interesting about that second half, as you can see right in front of me on the TV screen and the monitors, this is a Liverpool squad looking very, very happy. Smiles all round. They've not probably felt like this for a long, long time. You can see Mo Salah smiling, Thiago with a smile, Jurgen Klopp very happy as he's chatting to Martin Ødegaard in the middle of the pitch at the Emirates Stadium. It's a very deflating Arsenal camp, a very happy Liverpool camp as they have recorded a 3-0 win. And it might just feel like maybe Liverpool are starting to get on the road back to the top 4 after what had been a real poor start to 2021. That might be the game that revitalises their season. Diogo Jota, what a performance he did when he came on. 2 goals for him. And Mo Salah also adding one as Liverpool wipe the floor with Arsenal in North London tonight. I'll get the post-match reaction from Mike and Russ very, very shortly. Elsewhere in the Premier League today, just quickly, West Brom beat Chelsea by 5 goals to 2 at Stamford Bridge. They're still 8 points from safety, but they have done their survival bid. The world of good. Leeds were victors against Sheffield United, winning by 2 goals to 1. The first part of our double, Leicester beat Manchester City. Manchester City, beat Leicester by 2 goals to 0. Benjamin Mendy and Gabriel Jesus were on the score sheet as Man City have gone 17 points clear at the top of the table. In the Championship, Huddersfield and Brentford shared the points in a 1-1 draw at the John Smith Stadium. League 2, Southend still remain in the bottom 2. They lost 2-0 at home to Carlisle early on this afternoon. Elsewhere in the Scottish Cup, Celtic is safely through. They beat League 1 side Falkirk by 3-0. Elsewhere, Motherwell, Kilmarnock, St Mirren, they're also through. Dundee United are also through. St Johnstone and Aberdeen are through from the Scottish Premier League. In La Liga, Real Madrid were victors against Eibar as they warm up for their Champions League tie against Liverpool with a win at the Alfredo Di Stefano training centre that they're currently temporarily playing in due to the redevelopment of the Santiago Bernabeu. Osasuna and Getafe was goalless, and Granada and Villarreal saw Villarreal win by 3-0. So whilst Unai Emery with his current side won 3-0, his old side were beaten 3-0, not just beaten, well beaten for that fact. The Bundesliga, the highlights from that: Dortmund were beaten by Eintracht Frankfurt by 2-1. Bayern Munich were victors away in Leipzig. Leon Goretzka with the goal there. Mönchengladbach beat Freiburg by 2-1. Wolfsburg were winners 1-0 over Cologne. Augsburg beat Hoffenheim by 2-1. Leverkusen were victors over Schalke, who really are now destined to be heading in the second tier. Mainz and Arminia Bielefeld was 1 apiece. Serie A, Milan and Sampdoria drew 1-0. Atalanta and Udinese was 3-2 to Atalanta. Benevento and Parma finished 2 apiece. Cagliari lost 2-0 to Hellas Verona. Genoa and Fiorentina both shared points in a 1-1 draw. Lazio and narrow winners over Spezia, winning by 2-1. There was a 7-goal thriller as Napoli beat Crotone by 4-3. Sassuolo and Roma drew 2-2. And Torino and Juve was 2-2 in the Turin derby, with Juve coming from 2-0 down. And Internazionale were victors over Bologna. Ligue 1, Paris Saint-Germain lost by 1-0 to Lille, as it is not so far the managerial start to life in the French capital that Mauricio Pochettino would have wanted. Neymar and Thiago Jallo were both sent off. Monaco were 4-0 victors over Metz, and Lens and Lyon was 1 apiece at the Stade Félix Bollaert-Nelly. And then, of course, in the Copa del Rey final, it is Real Sociedad 1, Athletic Club 0. Mikel Oyarzabal with the goal in the 63rd minute, which just happened in that fact. Of course, that is the first ever Basque final. Time to go to Mike Harniman and Russ, who, of course, are going to be bringing you the post-match reaction. I'll come to Russ in a minute, but Mike, from an Arsenal perspective, it was a performance that was really off the pace, toothless. You can describe it as any words, but obviously we know it was a really, really poor display. Where do they go from here now? Because that, to me, looks like a team that's chances of any top 4 hopes via the league gone completely. Liverpool aside, who are supposed to be out of sorts and a complete shadow of the one that's been over the last 2 years, completely wiped the floor with them at the Emirates. What do you put that performance down to tonight?
I really don't know. You can look at the injuries. You can look at, the fact it's Liverpool, and yeah, I really don't know. I'm broken on the back of that performance. I thought it was horrible. It was really a gutless, hopeless, terrible performance. We didn't even look like we wanted it. It looked like we, kind of went into that game expecting to lose. More focused on the Europa League, and yeah, you could just see it. Like it took 85 minutes or whatever it was to actually show any fight and passion and hunger, any sort of determination. And that was just when we brought Martinelli on. I think, that was they had that one moment. I think it was 75 minutes, whatever it was. But by that point, the game was done and dusted. And yeah, it really was a terrible performance from Arsenal. I don't know what Mikel Arteta can say to them on the back of that to pick them up for Thursday, but I'm interested to know, how he's going to get him motivated for that game, because, we had 2 shots on goal, 2 weak attempts on target, and, they tested Alisson, yeah, fine, but they were straight at him. Aubameyang, Lacazette, Pepe, Odegaard, all of those were completely marked out of the game, marshalled out of the game really well from a Liverpool perspective. And this is a Liverpool side that meant to be on a lull this season. Well, this Arsenal side certainly are, that's for sure. And this feels like it feels like the end, not just the end of the league campaign. It feels like we've got to kind of go all into the Europa League, and there's plenty still to give in that, but it kind of feels a little bit like crunch time for Mikel Arteta. It really does. The next few games could really determine whether he stays at the football club next year or not. He's gone into the January transfer window. He's brought in Thomas Partey. He's got out the likes of Socrates and Ozil and Torreira and Guendouzi and all of that this season. And yet still they're putting in useless, terrible performances like that where, they just can't even create anything against Liverpool. And Liverpool were cruising. As soon as they got the first goal, you knew which way it was going to go. There was no way back.
Well, yeah, of course, it does feel like Mikel Arteta is very firmly putting all his eggs in the Europa League basket, a trophy that Arsenal have never won, and they're hoping to win it this season, which, of course, if they do win it, will get them automatic qualification to the Champions League group stages, somewhere where they haven't been since 2016. Russ, you picked on commentary. Man of the match was Mo Salah. Of course, man of the match sponsored by Commentary Services. What made Mo Salah stand out? Because there was a lot of good individual performances from Liverpool players. I mean, Jota hit a brace. Very strong case to be man of the match. Fabinho probably put in his best performance for a long, long time. But why did Mo Salah stand out for you?
I just think the overall performance from Salah today terrorised the Arsenal defence, put him under a lot of pressure, was involved in some of the goals, and he took his goal well. He could easily have gone down when Gabriel slid in, when he put the ball underneath the legs of Ben Leno, and he managed to stay on his feet to put that chance away. A lot of players in that sort of position would have gone down, but in Mohamed Salah's capabilities and the way he plays, I think he just overall his performance tonight, I think he's shown out. Yes, you mentioned a few other players in there like Fabinho, Jota as well, who played well. I mentioned quite a few on commentary like the Kabak as well. But I think overall, I think Mohamed Salah, his performance tonight and the determination to stay up and his determination to get the goal was the deciding factor in my choice for man of the match this evening.
Well, yeah, two of the goals came from Diogo Jota. What a signing he has been from Wolves, of course, where he got rave reviews. Jurgen Klopp brought him in, and not many people expected him to be as spectacular as what he has been, but you've got to really give a lot of credit to him for how he has been at the league champions. However long they will be league champions from now to the end of the season is anybody's guess, given how good Manchester City have been. Let's talk about Arsenal now, fortunately for you, Mike. Mikel Arteta, we've been giving him a lot of praise recently, how he's got games pretty much nailed on. I mean, the Tottenham game, it was very one-sided. You flip the coin a few weeks later, and it's a different story with Liverpool completely wiping the floor with Arsenal. But Arsenal fans at home, on their sofas or wherever, cannot surely accept the idea that you've had two shots at home against Liverpool. You've got Lacazette and Aubameyang both on the pitch, who between them cost, round about £100 million, barely created a single opportunity, and almost, I want to use the analogy of it was like a professional boxer facing an amateur boxer, wasn't it? It really showed the golfing class between these two on the pitch when before the game, there's that massive genuine belief, do you know what? We can beat Liverpool. Do you think Arteta tonight got it completely wrong? And why do you think he got it wrong, if so?
Yeah, I think he's got that lineup completely wrong. I said it during the commentary. You can't be shoehorning Aubameyang and Lacazette to the same team. As much as they're both, great players, I think you have to have one start and one as a sub and bring him off the bench. And as I said, use Pepe and Martinelli either side if you've not got Saka available. You have to look at it, and you said about it there, they cost 150 odd million. Well, you're missing off Nicola Pepe as well. That's 220, 230 million there, and they look like players that shouldn't even be Premier League players, let alone internationals. It didn't just look like a professional boxer against an amateur boxer. This looked like a Premier League side against a conference side.
Well, that does really tell its own story for people who, of course, didn't tune in to watch the game. Just to recap, it finished Arsenal 0, Liverpool 3. 2 Diogo Jota goals and Mo Salah goal got the points for Liverpool, who've found playing away from Anfield very, very good of late. But of course, when they do play at Anfield, it is a completely different story. Russ, Arsenal's point of view, Mike says he got it wrong. Do you want anything to add on tonight's performance? And do you think maybe there's some players in this team that going forward aren't simply good enough for this team? Or do you think maybe it might just come down to maybe the manager's not good enough? Because the position they're in, you know, everyone expected Arsenal to really kick on after their FA Cup final win. It almost feels like they're not really doing what people expected them to do. It feels like there was a little bit of crossroads at the moment. I want to gauge your opinion on it.
Yes, I must agree with Matt that some of the players are not good enough. Yes, and like Matt said, I agree with him. Play one or the other in Aubameyang and Lacazette. I think for me, both players are similar style of players from how they play together and how they work off the ball, like to draw back, like to get the ball and create things. You play either one or the other. I've just been looking as well just before while you and I were speaking. This win tonight for Liverpool means Liverpool have completed the first league double over Arsenal since 2016-2017 season when Arsenal lost 4-3 at the Emirates and 3-1 at Anfield. They lost 3-1 at Anfield this year, but not 4-3 at the Emirates this year. But 2016-2017 was last time Liverpool did the double. But I think Arteta going wrong. Some of the players, yes, maybe not good enough. Like Jack, I don't think it's the case of they're not good enough. I think it's the case of they think they're not good enough. So I think the likes of Xhaka thinks he's not good enough anymore for Arsenal. Same with a few of the other players as well. Maybe Aubameyang thinks I'm too good to be in this Arsenal side anymore. I need to move on to fresher challenges, and maybe that's the problem that Arsenal have got. The players think they're too good to be for this team. Yes, Arteta must take some responsibility because he's paid these players to go out there and perform, and they've not performed. Majority of these players he inherited. I'll give him that, but he's fetched in Odegaard this season. He's fetched in Thomas Partey as well. He's fetched in a few of these players who have played tonight and or will probably come on tonight as well. And they've not performed, so he's going to take some blame there. But obviously, the players have got to take their share of the blame as well. There's no point saying Arteta's going wrong and just singling out the manager. Yeah, the manager gets sacked if anything does go wrong. Why not, instead of sacking the manager, why not say at the end of the season, right, your performances haven't been good enough this season. I'm just going to use this player as an example. Performances have not been good enough then this season. Mohamed El Nani, we're going to get rid of you in the summer. Fetch someone in who can add just that extra step that you couldn't take us. Get rid of him, either release or sell them if they think they can get decent money for them. But I think Arteta must take a share of the blame as well.
Don't worry, Liverpool fans who, of course, are listening to our post-match reaction. We will be talking about your side. Don't you worry about that. But the final point I want to make on Arsenal, Mike, you look at Arteta, you look at his style of play, you know, very much the Arsenal sides that I've watched growing up, and you feel the same. It has been very attack-minded football, the days of Wenger and Unai Emery, who, of course, was sacked after sort of near enough 18 months in charge. This is a very different Arsenal team, a unique one that Arteta's tried to mould into how he wants. Do you feel that maybe the style that he wants doesn't quite work with these group of players? And do you think that the fans don't really like to see it? Do you think he needs to try and go with the Arsenal of old? Because he's tried a new, different way of, you know, bringing in, you know, Thomas Partey for Atletico was one of their unsung heroes, wasn't he? Such a powerful player. He's tried to bring him in. It's not really worked. Of course, injuries have halted that. Do you feel that maybe Arteta's style doesn't quite sit with the club ethos at Arsenal? Do you believe that, or do you think that maybe he still needs that more time? It's quite an interesting sort of thing to sort of divulge, isn't it? I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the system he's trying to play doesn't work. As I said before, I think he's doing that to try and get Aubameyang and Lacazette into the same side. And yeah, it's very much you saw today. It doesn't work, and Arsenal are being found out. The last few weeks, a lot of these teams now sort of know how to deal with Arsenal. They know that when Arsenal are playing out from the back, they're going to be vulnerable. They also know that Arsenal are prone to mistakes as well. They look at the likes of Leno and some of these other players that are in the side as well, and kind of know that they can get at them. And even the back line as well when Tierney went off, and of course and that midfield with Ceballos. I was just looking a moment ago in regards to the side today and the substitutes bench, and there's so many players on this side and on this substitutes bench that I don't think are good enough. There's so many players that we've either overpaid for and have, like Nicola Pepe, who has not shown anywhere near the money that we've spent for him, and what Arsenal fans expect. Willian as well, and another one that was signed as a panic buy, doesn't get on today. Aubameyang, as much as he's been our saviour in other years and top goal scorer and things like that, since he signed the contract, complete shadow of himself. Lacazette, hit and miss. Danny Ceballos almost cost us against Benfica. There's so many players in this lineup, and if you look at the bench as well, there was no real options on the bench apart from Martinelli and maybe Willian, and that was obviously narrowed down a little bit when Kieran Tierney got injured as well. When Danny Ceballos, was kind of thrown in to replace Granit Xhaka, and that partnership with Xhaka and Thomas Partey was becoming quite a formidable sort of midfield partnership as well, and they were getting familiar with each other's style. So that was unfortunate there. But credit to Liverpool. Liverpool have come to Arsenal, done a job. Arsenal were poor. Liverpool were good. I say good. They were excellent, to be honest. And I'm just looking now. Whether Arteta stays or whether Arteta goes is part and parcel of football and how things are going to be looked at the end of the season when Arsenal certainly underachieve in terms of the aims. But there's a lot of these players that have got to take blame as well. And if 5 or 6 of these players from the starting lineup and the majority of that bench are to go, then you can't blame Arteta for trying them and kind of seeing what they can do, but then that not being good enough.
Well, let's now talk about the winners tonight. Liverpool, of course, the side who in 2021, I think it's been fair to say, it's been a real rough time in the Premier League. At home in particular, they have managed to score a few amount of goals. I think it's 1 in total in open play, which is a staggering thing to say given how unbelievable they've been at home. But away from home, it's a different story. They've won 2 on the spin away, 2 clean sheets in that time. Ross, does it feel like Liverpool are back after watching that tonight?
It does, Matt, yes. And tonight you felt like Liverpool of last season, taking the chances that came their way. They were creating a lot more than the opposition. It felt like you were watching the same Liverpool side that won the title last season. And whereas the biggest part of this season, early on in the campaign, you felt it was like watching an Arsenal side and watching Liverpool as if it was an Arsenal side or the Unai Emery, where they had no ideas on how to go forward. Whereas now you're looking at that performance tonight, it's like Liverpool of last season, everyone fighting for each other, bodies on the line, making sure if Arsenal did gain and create chances, they were never going to get past. So I can see why Liverpool are banned now, and I can see why Arsenal, and in my opinion, will not make the top 4 and will not make. And I don't think, in my opinion, I may be wrong, but in my opinion, I don't think they'll even make the top 10 this season, Arsenal. But Liverpool, I think they've got an outside chance of trying to get into maybe the Europa League places next season.
Another point on Liverpool, I think obviously there was a lot of talk about Trent Alexander-Arnold. Of course, he wasn't in the England squad for the 3 qualifiers against San Marino, Albania and Poland. Started tonight, played a full 90 minutes. He got an assist. As we know, he loves to get forward. His crossing ability is probably, for a right back in this division, probably the best. I mean, I'd love to know who's better in my humble opinion. But he looked really fresh tonight. He looked like a man with a point to prove that he was hurting by the fact he wasn't in the England squad. It caused a lot of debate that he wasn't in it. How do you think he fared tonight, Mike, Trent Alexander-Arnold? He got an assist, got a clean sheet. He looked like a man that, to me, was a wounded animal out there and wanted to say to Southgate, look, this is what you're missing out on, and I'll get better throughout this season, and I will be going to those Euros. Do you think he was trying to do that message, or do you just think he just forgot about it and just played his normal game and just felt no pressure?
I think he had a point to prove tonight, and I think we touched on it during the stream as well. Of course, he's going to be hurting from having to miss out with those England games. And actually, I thought he was excellent today. I thought he was bombing forward, doing plenty in attack, and also defending very well as well in the small amount of defending he needed to do. But it kind of, the way that Arsenal played gave him enough freedom, really, to kind of do what he wanted. So he was able to get off the pitch and get himself involved in the attacking third and get the assists. And really, he put in a good performance today. He was playing with a point to prove. And this Liverpool side, are certainly, when they've got him on form and Andy Robertson on the other side on form as well, they've certainly got some of the best fullbacks in the division, if not the world. And I thought both of those didn't have a lot defensively to do today, but what they did going forward were good. And Alexander-Arnold was certainly playing with a point to prove. And I can see, I can certainly see Southgate taking note of this one and thinking maybe I was a little bit hasty with him.
Russ, just final thing on Liverpool. Diogo Jota's excelled, isn't it? He's kind of confounded the critics, if you like. Obviously he came in from Wolves. I think it was sort of around 35 to sort of 45 million pounds, and there was a lot of expectation he's not going to play that much because of the trio of Firmino, Mane, and Salah, and obviously he's had his chances because of injuries. And out of probably the four of them, he's probably been the one that's maybe stood out the most out of all four of them. Have you been surprised by how well he's been, or did you think, no, he was going to do better than what people were saying, even though he's gone from a club with Wolves who were always overachieving to a club at Liverpool who every year their ethos is winning trophies, winning the big ones?
I think he's doing about the same as what I would have expected him to do when he first came in. I think he's performed well for Liverpool this season, and I think he's just going to go get better and better and better as he goes on in his Liverpool career. He's got better, I think, no disrespect to Wolves, they've got some good players, but he's got some better players in and around him and in his position to help him improve, the likes of Firmino, Mane, Salah, Shaqiri, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Divock Origi as well, who weren't involved tonight. So he's got the players of them sort of calibers in and around the squad to help him improve. And I think if they continue to play to his strengths in this, like they are doing tonight, like they have done tonight and they have done throughout, I think he's just going to get better and better. And I think already this season, you look at him from what he did for Wolves, and then you look at him what he's doing for Liverpool. I think he's just that little bit edgier where he did for Wolves, in my opinion. Just got a little more cutting edge in front of goal. And I'm no respect to Adama Traore, Neto, and them who created the balls for him to get the goals. But I think having Mane and Salah either side of him to create the goals and put the balls in and know where they want him and know where they want it to be. Because if that was them in that sort of position, they put him in the exact place where they wanted him to be. Trent will know that if that's Salah in there or Firmino in, Mane in there, that's where they want the ball to be. And they'll just see Jota in there instead. And they'll just put it on the same place you would for the others that started the game. And they're going to perform. And you're going to get goals from Jota, like he's proved when he were Wolves. He's going to get your goals, and he's got to tonight and done very, very well. And I think he's just going to get better and better under Jurgen Klopp's citizenship.
And what I will say, sorry, Matt, what I will just say before you end as well, from a Liverpool fan, for Liverpool fans' perspective, you're only 2 points behind fourth place Chelsea now. And of course, you won the league last season, but you've kind of started to turn the form on its head a little bit in recent weeks, and looking very much like the side that are going to take advantage if Chelsea have any more slips like they did earlier this afternoon. So I'll let you round it out in a second, Matt. But Arsenal there, I was just saw a second ago, all the players looked dejected. Fair enough. You can look dejected if you put effort and heart into the game, but there was certainly none of that today. And there's a hell of a lot of a job on a hand of Mikel Arteta now to try and turn this around, not just for Thursday, but for the rest of this league campaign as well. But it finished Arsenal 0, Liverpool 3. And Matt, do your bit, mate.
Well, yeah, thank you for that, Mike. Of course, Mike and Russ Vernon were on commentary for this evening's game, of course, just to end it, as I will do. Liverpool are up to 5th now in the table, 2 points behind Chelsea after their defeat to West Brom earlier on today. Arsenal in 9th, and it looks like now their chances of getting into the Champions League via the league are pretty much all but over. 9 points the gap now. And of course, they have played the same amount of games as their London rivals, Chelsea. So that's all we got time for on Football Commentary Live, the home of alternative commentary. Thank you for tuning into tonight's stream. So in the capital, under the lights, under the Emirates, it is Liverpool that prevail, making it a very unhappy Easter for Mikel Arteta and his Gunners, who missed fire and were really toothless on the night. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back very, very soon for more commentaries on Football Commentary Live, home of alternative commentary. Enjoy the rest of your Easter and bank holiday weekend, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Bye for now.